Hey guys, sorry, just setting up still. Making sure the camera's good. Okay, what's wrong? How's the audio, guys? Is the audio good? Okay, let's see. Everything set up. It's 8:30 for me now here. Let's see, I think we're basically ready. So yeah, is the audio at all cracking on YouTube right now, or is it perfect? Okay, I guess it's my phone. I guess my phone's screwed up. That sucks. Yeah, hold on. All right, hey guys, everybody on Facebook, I'm on YouTube as well right now, Tian Clark. You're not going to be able to see the picture fully, the whiteboard and stuff that I'm writing on, because the image is reversed. All right guys, so can you see the whiteboard good? So it's second day today, January 17th. So yesterday I was 210 in the morning, and that was with some food in me. Before I went to bed I was 218, and this morning I woke up at 215, and right now I'm back up to 218 again. I already had one meal and, you know, water and stuff like that. Today's gonna be arm and delt day. Yeah, I already started. I just got a little bit of a warm up. Not like a good, I just did like a couple sets to warm up. But yeah, I'm gonna start the warm up, record the sets on the whiteboard as we go here, and yeah, so we'll get to the warm ups here. Hold on one sec. Okay, all right, that should be good. How many calories did you get in yesterday? I'll answer that in 1 second. Let me get. I got 20s. I'm just going to do a little bit of warm up. My warm ups, I don't like going too all out. I like to do lesser reps for warm-ups and not really strain myself, just to save my energy. Okay, calories. So I'm not too sure. I didn't add it up yet fully. I did not hit what I wanted to get because I started my workout yesterday totally unplanned. So I didn't have all the food that I wanted. I'm going to guess, again, I haven't added up, probably around 44,500. I'm going to guess it was. But yeah. All right, so let me write down the first exercise to start. I think I know what I'm starting with. So I'm gonna do drag curls and kickback. I really like kickbacks, one of my favorite things. I never used to have good triceps, and my triceps were always shit especially in the long head. Not a lot of people think overhead extension is better for your long head, but actually in studies the better activation was in kickbacks, and diamond push-up is almost double compared to other exercises. So kickbacks has always been a huge staple. I'm going to be doing things a little bit different, like I said, to start, mainly because I want to hit everything in my body more quicker within the first week to get more muscle memory back. So yeah. Aaron Curtis says, have I ever trained my lower body before? Not yet. But we will soon. Lower body will be tomorrow, or I'll probably have an off day tomorrow. My upper body is looking a lot more fuller already, just because my weight. I'm assuming my arms, by the time we're done this workout, my arms are going to look a lot more fuller. I know my chest definitely is. Change the camera a little bit. See if that's better. Okay, I'm going to do my set before I reply to any more. I really like drag curls. I do them standing up instead of on the bench. I just feel them better, and I go about half range of motion because the angle that you're doing, the tension leaves the muscle halfway down or halfway. Yeah, I'm not sure how good the angle is here, guys. Anyways, but whatever. Oh. Did not count the reps there. I'm being so lazy and counting the reps. I start, but then I forget. That's my first set though anyways. All right, kickbacks. And I only go half rep on these two, especially when you're doing them with dumbbells, because the tension's gone, right? Halfway through. And then I keep my body 45 degrees angle, but my elbows as far towards the ceiling as I can for better contraction. totally missed the reps there. I gotta stop doing that, but I'm gonna write down the weights anyways. There's 20 pounds for drag curls. And 15 pounds I did on kickbacks. See questions. I like my breakfast to be just fat and protein, tons of veggies, and have carbs the rest of the day. If I start using Lantus, should I include carbs in breakfast too? Yeah, absolutely. You're selling yourself short anyways, not having carbs every meal. So it's not, every question you've asked me so far, it really sounds like you're coming from a perspective of you gain fat easily and you're trying to prevent fat gain. So like every question you just seem to be like you're very worried about fat gain. So it sounds like you gain fat easily and probably possibly due to the wrong food choices. Hey guys, Dustin says 22 reps. What did I get that on? Again, everybody on Facebook, I'm on YouTube. It's easier to read the comments and you can see the whiteboard better, just so you know, but I'm still doing it in the group anyways. Awesome pics, great size, look thick, salt tight. Keep us all posted on your continued progress. Then you need updated pics, sir. Friends, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, so somebody said 22 reps. What was that for? So I'm not too sure. I'm probably gonna do, I should do forearms today too, I forgot. Where am I? Here, I just do it this way. So, I always like to do forearms. I never used to do forearms as a staple. You know, people be like, oh, you lift heavy, deadlifts, whatever, you're gonna get a good forearm workout. I don't believe in that at all. Just from my own experience, especially when I first started training, I always did heavy, and I've always, except till recently, less heavy, but you know, heavy never grew my forearms, even with tons of deadlifts and stuff like that. That's purely, I feel like, a genetic thing. And then the funny factor is, you look at everybody with great forearms, like Lee Priest. What does he do? He trains his forearms. He's always trained his forearms. So forearms is a big thing that I'm very for training, especially to have a more better, you know, well-rounded look. If training at home during lockdown and have access only to resistance bands, decent resistance, but not enough to create enough tension for 10 to 15 reps of failure, should you just go super high reps? Yeah, because that's the only thing you can do. The closer to failure, the better. The issue with bands at the same time is that bands, you're going to fail on the positive before you fail on the negative, right? Because bands, the harder it gets, you know, when you go up higher. So you're not going to fail on the negative, and the negative is more important for breaking down tissue and or for growth, a lot of studies show. So if you're having to do bands, I would do super slow negatives, and really slow negatives is counterproductive in studies. But that's like really slow, I think like 8+ seconds, but you have no option but to go super slow for negatives. All right guys, gonna do my next set here. Drag curls again. Whew. Kickbacks with 15 again. Whew. I actually should have upped the weight, I think, on this one, but or maybe not. what's the best food and meals combination? Choices to get fat to anywhere near 300 grams. So yes. So individual, very hard to answer. So I deal with a lot of people with digestive issues, so certain foods are off limits, and then it depends on the ability of somebody, you know, how easily that they gain fat, right? So in the perfect world scenario, I would have them pound back a lot of polyunsaturated fats, Pacific fish higher in polyunsaturated fats, even pork, and a lot of seeds, However, you're not going to get 300 grams obviously eating just that. It'd be too much in abundance. And you're asking me, like, maybe you want to eat 300 grams fat. I don't know if you need 300 grams of fat. I'm 6'4". My body almost never puts on fat. Every single time I start bulking up, I have the worst diet in the world, eating insane amounts of foods, and I get leaner as I grow. I will, like when I show the pictures here, I will get leaner as I grow, basically. So my 300 grams of fat will come from stuff like chicken wings. Like my fat would put an immense amount of fat on other people. So 300 grams of fat is really pushing it. You know, most people, especially average size, aren't going to need 300 grams of fat. However, you'll see a lot of bodybuilders, as I broke down, a lot of bodybuilders will get to 300 grams of fat because their specific body absolutely does need it. You know, they're 250 pounds plus lean. And to grow optimally, that's what they're gonna have to get. Yo, that last vid you showed were a pic of before and after putting on 50 pounds in like 6 weeks. Did you cut before you start your cycle? No, that picture was literally right when I did the cycle. I was just explaining, you probably heard it in there, that like when I start a cycle, I lean up every time. No matter what I'm eating, no matter what I'm doing. The only times I put on a little bit of fat is because I'll do absolutely nothing all day, zero activity, eat complete shit, and then I'll get skinny fat. But the second I work out, my body will lean up every time. However, I can't say that's fully due to genetics, because when I do eat, I have a tendency, even when I always ate super bad. Well, let me explain that one second. Let me get my setting, guys, just so it doesn't take too long. Again, guys, on Facebook, I'm on YouTube. You can probably see better on there. And if you're wondering why the weird angle, guys, as I explained, I'm doing body dry curls. So I'm a little bit bent forward, and I'm not going all the way down. Okay. Kickbacks. I think this is my third set. Here we go. Okay. So where was I? I was saying about what did I cut before the cycle? Naturally, no matter what, my diet, even when I eat crap, has usually always tended more towards diet that's really good for keeping off fat. So even if I eat junk food like takeout and stuff like that, I'd always eat, you know, like a chicken burger. What's a chicken burger gonna be? You know, like Wendy's or something like that. You know, lean chicken breast. The fat is usually from polyunsaturated fats, although not healthy because it's vegetable oil. You know, it's heated vegetable oil. It's horrible for you, and lots of carbs. I've never ate a lot of high saturated fats, which is shown to cause more fat gain compared to other fats. So my diets naturally, no matter what I've ate, have always tended towards a better body composition diet. Meanwhile, I feel people who tend to get fat easily, especially eating junk or anything like that, they tend towards a more, you know, stuff like hamburgers or ribs and stuff like that. And I've never really liked those foods. So they're getting a lot more saturated fats, right? Versus somebody eating a chicken burger who's getting polyunsaturated fats with it. Yesterday, you said that low, high E2 can cause less sweating. Effectively, I tested for E2 and it's low. I'm on 150 milligrams / 25 milligrams of test every other day. 500 deca, 80 milligrams test. Is E2 the cause? Remember what I said? I said it changes your threshold for sweating. When your progesterone is higher, when your body is under heat stress, it'll take a higher temperature to cause sweating, versus when progesterone is low and estrogen is high, you will sweat at an earlier heat temperature than you normally would. So that's what I was saying. Okay, I did 3 sets over there. Oh yeah, there was one more question. Any thoughts on blood flow restriction bands? I struggle to feel bicep working in set, and DOMS, delayed onset muscle soreness, are always above elbow. So what was that? And DOMS is always above elbow / lower bicep. I used bands once and it felt the set in my biceps and aches was in my head. So I was worded a little bit funny. What was I saying? If you're not feeling anything in a certain muscle, a certain area, you need to change the way you're doing the way you're doing an exercise, or the exercise to feel it where you want to feel it, and or mind muscle connection. A semi-recent study was shown not too long ago that when you focus on a muscle, you will see, I think it was almost double the growth. So they told participants to just curl the weight A to B, and they told the other participants to curl by focusing on the muscle, and they saw double the growth. Hold on one second, guys. Yeah, so if you're not feeling in the muscle, switch up what you're doing. What else? What's your take on pinning with insulin needles? Yeah, when I first started, I'd always use the bigger needles. And then for the past few years, when I actually did cycle, I'd only use insulin needles. I've only been using insulin needles for like 7 or more years when I actually do cycle. Even this cycle right now, I'm doing all sub-Q in my stomach. So I'll do 0.3 to get my 60 milligrams of NPP. I'll do example 0.3, then 0.3 the next day 0.3, and just keep working all your way down. You have lots of spots, it doesn't hurt, it's great. Let me put my next workout, guys. So I did ×3. Okay, what are we doing? Maybe I'm gonna do bench dips. Bench dips and what? Maybe bench dips and let's do bench dips and wide curls, I think. So bench dips and wide curls. All right, let me do this set quickly, actually. Actually, I'm gonna do this chair. Whew, here goes, actually. Here goes. Okay. How do you get curls? at 25 pounds. I'm not sure if that's too heavy, but let's keep it going. I'm trying to keep pretty far away from failure here, guys. I could probably do a decent few more reps, but I don't want to overexert myself like I did last time. So, reminder, guys, people in the Facebook group, I'm doing it on YouTube right now too, so you can see better on the screen. So what else is that? Any other tricks than oil pulling to maximize dental health and nice looking teeth? A few things, because I take insane care of my teeth, try to most times, because when I'm off diet and eating crap, like I eat so much sugar and junk food, like so much, it's so horrible. Between every bite, swish your mouth with water. Always have a cup of water. You don't have to every bite, but I like to. And then after a meal, swish with water and vigorously. You swishing helps get rid of the acid, the food particles. Just making a habit to swish frequently really helps improve dental health, and it's proven to in studies. One of the biggest and best things. Obviously floss. Brush your teeth regularly. Before I brush my teeth, so people say wait 30 minutes to brush your teeth because acid's on the teeth when you're brushing, whatever, erode them faster. However, you don't have to do that, and that's worse. After your meal, swish in your mouth some baking soda and then brush your teeth, because it'll neutralize the acids, and then you can get rid of the food particles in that, and so the acid isn't sitting there. Other than that, adequate boron, adequate calcium, magnesium, K2, all super important for dental health. And then I make my own toothpaste and mouthwash with high calcium phosphate in it as well. Just started the derma roller on my hairline last night, 1 mm. Do you think every other day? In studies, we don't know the best amount to derma roll. It could be higher, could be lower, it could be more frequent. Nobody knows. All we can go by is studies, and tons of people have did like daily derma rolling with 1 to even 2.5. My take based off real world results, what I like to do is like a 2.5 every 3 or 4 weeks, and then you can do like a 1 about 3 times a week. Might be pushing it, but again, we don't know what the science shows. Do you think there is a minimum amount of calories per pound per kg to growth? I read that 18 to 20 calories is a good starting point per pound. Nobody knows, obviously, science-wise, because a study could show. Studies vary in their volume and their intensity of the workout, so we don't know how much, right? If you're training intense and high volume, you may break down more muscle and your body may be able to utilize more calories to grow. And this is what I do find. When you're on steroids, when you work out with higher volume, stuff like that, I believe you can utilize a lot more calories. Hence, like me, when I will shoot up 60 pounds. Arms already looking bigger, like 17s at a glance. Okay, guys, hold on. Let me get this in here. This next set. Whew, okay. Whew. Okay. Okay. Whew. Okay, here we go. 25 pounds. Wide grip curls. Yeah, that weight's a little too heavy. Kind of overexert myself a bit. Okay. I think that was my second set. So 1 more of that. Watching your arms grow in one day is disheartening. Yeah, hopefully. I think by the end of this week, I'm hoping up 25 pounds. Do you actually put it in sub-Q or do you pin it straight down so it just reaches your muscle? I've heard it from a few people on YouTube. It can make a lump if you put oil into sub-Q. So I'll pinch my fat and I'll do it straight into the fat. Sometimes deeper, sometimes not as deep. The only times I get lump is when it's too high of a concentration and it crashes in the muscle and then it leaves that lump. Otherwise, no. Keep your dose low, 0.3 of a milliliter, in lower concentration gear, like 250 milligrams for TAS, 100 milligrams for NPP and stuff like that. Don't use the high stuff, high concentration stuff. Hey, any idea why my skin looks better when I'm hungover? And also I feel better overall hungover, more creative, less anxiety. Any idea why that is? And by hungover, I mean heavily drinking. The main thing you binge drinking is going to do is dehydrate you. I don't know, maybe you have a health condition where you're overly, you're waterlogged and your high BP is making you feel fatigued and stuff like that. Or maybe it's gut bacteria related, right? With alcohol, you're kind of killing your gut bacteria for a short period there. Yeah, I really wouldn't know exactly. Those would be my first two guesses, to be honest. Hey dude, do you have any opinions on what the upper cutoff should be for THS? Some people claim anything above 2 is indicative of a problem, whereas most docs don't care until it hits 5. Nobody knows. The ranges change. Some areas it's 0.3, some areas it's 5. Nobody knows to be exact specifically. The only thing you can kind of go by is symptoms, like they do in studies. But if you're just guessing my guess, I still say anything under 3. I know a lot of people are all about under 1 today, but I mean, as long as you feel good, all your indicators of a proper thyroid is functioning, and we can go by like the healthiest cultures that we have on the planet, then that's the only thing we can really go by. There's no, we don't know exactly what's perfect. And then more talk on the alcohol. You guys are saying a glutamate rebound. I feel that'd be tricky. I know most people feel really shit when glutamate is an issue. Okay guys, what did I do last there? I did 2 sets, right? Yeah, I did 2 sets, so got one more of this. I'm really all right, yeah, I'm really starting to weigh out here. I'm gonna try and keep this one really short, just because of I don't want to overexert myself like I did last time I worked out. So all right. Okay. I lowered the weight to 20 pounds here. Whew. All right guys, be right back in 1 second. All right, 2 sets, 25, I think. Yeah, 25 times 2. Okay. Does glutamine help sleep? Most people know. Most people, glutamate gives them a high anxiety feeling and disrupts their sleep. You're not a believer in full range of motion, I see. So studies show us that certain exercises saw almost double the growth when you did half range of motion. So, and the reason because of this is the tension. So when you're doing flies, as an example, if you were with dumbbells, you come all the way up, the tension leaves, right? It's, you know, directly in line with gravity. Same thing for bicep curls. When you go all the way down, you the tension is gone because the weight's hanging, it's free hanging, right? So I'm a firm believer in every single exercise that you do, that you go by feeling, listen to your body, and notice where the tension leaves the muscle. So same with tricep kickbacks I was doing there. I was stopping before the weight was dead hanging. And that's another reason I'm not a fan of a lot of cable exercises, because the tension is half gone on a lot of them too. Machines are always great for what was I gonna say? For keeping the tension on the muscle. So yeah, every single exercise I'm doing, I'm stopping where the tension leaves. I always used to do full range of motion, and I just, you know, it was like everything else in my body would tire before the muscle, like the joint, you know what I mean? Just everything else would tire, and I wouldn't get as much rep and feeling in the muscle I was trying to work. Will you be doing your workouts live, or will you be hitting the gym as well? I won't be going to the gym. Gyms are closed here for the next who knows how long, so I'll just be using my dumbbells at home. Have you ever seen complete reversal, male pattern baldness without the use of 5R inhibitors or female hormones? Absolutely. If you check my website, I have a couple testimonials up. Most of the people who I've helped with their hair loss has not used any hormones at all for it. So, especially without finasteride, anybody who I help, they do not let them use finasteride. I need to figure out what workout I'm doing. Hey guys, everybody on Facebook, I'm on YouTube, just search Stan Clark. You can see the video better just because I have to add this one closer where my tripod is at my desk. So YouTube, you can see the better picture. All right, what am I doing next? Close grip or hammer curls, I think. Close grip, hammer curls, and then then skull crushers and some overhead extensions. Maybe I'll just do 2 sets of each of those so I can save my energy, because I still got to hit a little bit of delts. Okay, so what to do? Do skull crushers and what? Skull crushers and skull crushers and close grip. Let's do. All right. Good. All right, gonna start with 20 pounds. I'm not sure if you guys can see this. We'll see. We're gonna do some close grip now. I should lower the weight on that. It's a little bit heavy for me right now. All right, so I did 20 pounds. Okay. 3. What did I do? Oh yeah, skulls. All right. Any benefit in apple cider vinegar? Yeah, it's a thing I suggest quite often. It's a great item for its bacteria. The main benefit you're going to get from its bacteria in taking it after meal, with its very low pH, so to help stomach acidity. But again, like any probiotic like food, it can be dangerous too. It can cause brain fog due to excessive the lactobacteria and creating lactic acid. So never overdo probiotics. Do you rate black seed oil as a general health well-being supplement worth having daily long term? Absolutely, there's lots of benefit to it. On excessive fructose consumption. Then there's a fair few case studies, I think like 6 or more now, where it showed the reversal of HIV/AIDS. Again, those are just case studies, so it's hard to know what's up with that. But the thing I like about the reversal that it showed in that is that it was done in multiple different countries where they showed that. So it's, you know what I mean? It gives it a little more merit. So it's quite an interesting supplement for sure. Would you say you are more naturally skinny or naturally fat when you don't lift or eat well? Normally, when I'm not lifting and I'm not eating, I'll go back down to 150 pounds at 6'4", and I'll be absolutely fully skinny and like skinny, lean, you know what I mean? Slightest bit of body fat. The past few years, the first time ever where I will shrink down and become skinnier, but not as skinny, like around 200 pounds, and I'll put on a little bit of body fat. And the only reason I put on a little bit of body fat now, because my whole life I always just ate carbs and protein, insane amount of carbs, and I would just get skinny. But the past few years of my life, I've been eating a little more fat, even when I'm not training. And when I stop training, I will get skinny fat now versus just flat out skinny. So yeah. Well, yeah, we're doing, sorry guys, trying to keep up with my workout here too. Trying to think what I'm doing for delts next to. Rear delts, then I'll do a press, rear delts, press, and I'll do front and side, but I'll just do lesser sets is what I'll do, I think. HDL reduces from 45 to 15 whenever I take DBOT. Any suggestion? Well, there's a lot of things you can do to increase your HDL, but I wouldn't put much like thought into it. Basically, as for that, you know, as studies show, it's like statins, right? Statins, they don't ever, there's no better outcome with them in studies, basically. And a funny thing, there's actually studies on people with a genetic defect with high HDL. They're actually more prone to heart disease at risk. And look at the new studies now with LDL being high. The elderly with higher LDL actually live longer with all less cause mortality. Your opinion on androgen, neural, and cardiac toxicity. So these studies are so, I've been meaning to do an article on this. These studies are so, what's the word? People read the abstracts and then they put out this info. Yeah, they put out that info and they have no idea what they're reading or doing because they don't read the full studies. So I've been over this a few times. So what they did was they took a dose that we would never use. I'm going to use a random example. 0.1 milligram, okay, of test versus DECA. Nandrolone at 0.1 milligram caused all these immense side effects, worse than testosterone, and testosterone is actually productive. But then once you get to the point that you're actually at a normal dose, let's say 1 milligram a day, the toxicity from nandrolone and testosterone were the same, but like nandrolone was like 10% worse or something like that, or not even 8%. And they kept upping the doses, and when they kept upping the doses, still test was only 10%. Not even, nandrolone was like 8 to 10% worse each dose. You know what I mean? Let's say going to 100, 200, 300, 400, 500 milligrams. So people are misconstruing that study on something like a speck of nandrolone, 0.1 milligram versus 0.1 milligrams of test, and test was protective. Okay, congratulations, go to 0.1 milligrams of testosterone and have its protective benefits, because you're a bodybuilder, you're an HRT, you ain't getting the protective benefits that you think, in those senses that you think you are. I mean, yes, testosterone at HRT doses is better than low testosterone, but you know, high test and low test both. high test and low test both cause neuro damage, and they both cause heart damage. That's the same for any hormone. Low estrogen, heart damage. High estrogen, heart damage. So people are really misconstruing the data there, and it's really annoying when I see people post that over and over and over again, like, oh, DECA's worse. It's like, no, it's not. Okay, let me, guys, let me do my set. I don't even remember what is. Oh yeah, skull crushers. All right, that was 20 pounds going down to 15. Close grip curl, that's what I'm doing. Holy. Jesus, I'm so worn out. I have like no endurance, guys. Oh, jeez, yeah, I have like no endurance. I definitely have to cut the sets back because I'm just like, killing myself. When you stop lifting, how much strength did you lose on your bench? Did you go back to complete beginner strength? Absolutely no. So I tried to do this before when I tried to do my comeback here, get my size back, and I was smaller. And I did like 70 pounds for 100, like 70 pounds for like 17 reps or something like that. I don't seem to ever lose my strength. So I do lose my strength, but like not a lot. The only reason I'm lifting less is because this is my very first workout back, and I know if I overdo it, last time I got rhabdomyolysis, if I overexert myself, it kills me. My appetite goes down, I'm fatigued, I'm dead, and like my muscles are not used to any work right now. I would, just kill myself if I actually used how strong it was. And that's counterproductive for growth, right? I'm not trying to move weight from point A to point B. I'm trying to focus on the muscle moving. I don't necessarily, I believe feeder workouts are proven in a study to have benefit, but I do not like them for the specific training that I find best and I like best. And what I mean by that is I would destroy a muscle to the point where it requires 5 days to recover. Well, I don't know if it takes 5 days to recover, but that's what I'm aiming for. I'm trying to destroy muscle, so it takes 5 days to recover. There's some muscle soreness and decreased strength for 5 days. That's what the best study showed for new myonuclei growth was for you to destroy muscle so bad that it took 5 days for it to recover. Do you think that Dorian cell split, body part 1 per week, is the most effective? Absolutely, as I was just going on there. A study for creating new myonuclei versus a lot of studies that would do more frequency. In the new studies are now showing that frequency really doesn't matter. 3 wasn't better than 2 times a week. And to create new myonuclei, you need to beat a muscle down so bad that it takes 5 days to recover. What is your training split, PBL or bro split? Right now, because I'm just getting into it, I'm doing chest back day 1, arms and delts day 2, and then legs. Then I'm having a rest day, and then I'm going to go on a bro split. And the reasons why, as I just said a second ago. Do I agree on most of the things that More Plates, More Dates talks about? Hold on. As you guys know, like I just started doing YouTube videos. I really don't watch YouTube. Like I really don't. People send me a video. They'll send me a video and be like, "Hey, watch this." I'm like, "Look, I'm not watching that. Like I'm not wasting 20 minutes of my time." Just because I can read a lot faster, right? Like you put a page in front of me, I'll remember the whole page in like a second. I'll read the whole page. I'm not sitting down for a 20-minute video. So if I've ever looked at his videos, I've only skimmed them. So I can't answer that honestly. I like Derek though. We talk fairly frequently. I think he's a nice guy, and I actually like Derek. Although for what he, like I said, I don't really watch. I'm trying to think of something that I maybe watch for like at least 5 minutes straight of like again, I hate watching videos. It's so slow. Yeah, I literally couldn't say, like, every time I may click on something, I just skim it. Do you know what I mean? I'm not actually like, yeah. What level would your natty test have to be to drop you to for? Sorry, that was worded. Funny. To consider TRT. Are you asking me what a doctor would need to see you at to consider you for TRT, or are you asking me what I would consider? Will you gain fat percent or grow leaner during this? I should grow leaner. Maybe at the very end I may start gaining some fat, just because how much I'm going to try and eat. But usually I always grow leaner, so we'll see. Okay, I got to do my set now. I need to remember what I was doing. I did some skull crushers. I wanted to do some overhead, and I wanted to do hammer. Well, another thing on strength. So I'm going to do this just for show right now, just because, you know, you asked, does my strength go away when I stop lifting and start going? I bet you anything right now I could do a normal curl with probably 70 or 80 pounds, and I could do it for a few reps. I don't want to do that, but you guys want to see that just for see my strength still there? I was going to do hammer curls, but maybe do a couple reps of just normal curls since it's more harder. I mean, hammer curls, I bet I could do 90 pounds easily, normal. Just to prove that at least me, I feel like strength doesn't really go when you have time off lifting. It'll go a little bit, but it doesn't go that much. So what was he gonna do? Tricep exercise. Oh yeah, overhead. Yeah, I think I want to do, maybe I should do another skull crusher. No, I think I'll do overhead, and then I'll do a little fun set for, what was he gonna do? For hammer curl or normal curl, additional strength. Maybe I should have did both hands. I don't know why I'm doing single arm. See, like I could do a lot more on this, but like I'm really focusing on squeezing and moving my muscle. Yeah, this is a little bit light for this one. Whoa. Whew. Where are we? What do you do my okay, hold on. Dumbbells, that'll help. Okay. Whoa. Yeah, it's a fair bit heavier. I don't know if you guys can see that. That's 60 pounds on this one. A fair bit heavier than I thought. But at least I know I should be able to hammer curl it. Let's see if I fail or not. Boy, that's a fair bit heavier than I thought. I don't know if I should have did that. Probably gonna be pretty exhausting. Okay, exhausted. And I'm gonna get rabbit again now. Okay, where are we? Have you seen people who had no balding in their 50s, went on gear in their 50s and started losing their hair? Absolutely 100%. We'll get the endless pro bodybuilders even that kept their hair well into their 40s, 50s and just started losing. Look at Jay Cutler. He just started losing his hair now. And he blasted the shit out of gear. Oh, you're asking naturally? Yeah, I've absolutely. So many guys in there that go on TRT never had hair loss and they're in their 50s and they start losing hair. Absolutely. What is your opinion on pregnancy supplementation? I don't like it. It lowers cortisol in humans. People use it because they want to get the down, to create the hormones that are downstream into, right? Like cortisol and all that stuff that get actually shut down with steroid use. People think because it's a higher up hormone, it's going to create all those hormones. But human studies show it actually lowers some of them. So I don't like it. It doesn't behave the way as when we were naturally producing hormones. There's much better ways to create your downstream hormones that are actually going to do it and not cut some of them off. That's why I notice a lot of people get constipation, no appetite and stuff on pregnenolone supplementation. So yeah, I don't like it. It's like a thought and a theory people had and be like, oh, use pregnenolone to restore your whatever, but no, it doesn't do that. Does DECA only cause some pimples or is it my DECA? Or is it just us? 99.9% of people are not going to get pimples on DECA. Absolutely not. I see like nobody get DECA when you use a DECA solo. Something else could be off in your diet, or it could be test, which I see happen a lot. Yeah, either one of those issues. An issue elsewhere that needs to be, okay. Is lifting heavy the fastest way to get size? Heavy's relative. You want to do both. I have a training article up. Go to my website, tn.com, give it a good read. So studies show the difference between bodybuilders and powerlifters, that bodybuilders had very high amounts of type 1 and type 2 fibers, whereas powerlifters just had high amounts of type 2, the fast twitch fibers. Why do powerlifters have a high amount of the fast twitch? It's because they lift heavy. Why do powerlifters lack the same size as bodybuilders? Is because they're missing maximizing the other fibers. And this is a big myth that people get construed at here, is that the slow twitch fibers, type 1, don't have much muscle growth. They absolutely do have as much muscle growth as type 2 fibers. The issue is that all the studies that we've done on the endurance fibers don't go to failure. And then finally we started doing some studies on type 1 fibers, endurance fibers, going to failure, and we saw just as much muscle growth as type 2 fibers. So the reason bodybuilders are bigger is because they hit both rep ranges. So it's a way to get going heavy? No, the way to get bigger is going heavy and light. However, heavy is relative. I still don't like too heavy. If your sleep isn't good, looking to wait in blankets, another big thing with sleep, tell people, look at your diet, get rid of everything that might be causing it. Like work backwards, see what you're missing. Are you missing calcium? Are you missing magnesium? Are you missing copper? Are you missing vitamin E? Are you missing vitamin C? Make sure you're getting all the vitamins that are needed for adequate sleep. Then, if you are getting all that, look into something that you might be missing in your diet. Like a lot of people might be missing, sorry, not missing, but they might be having something. Let's say you have a histamine intolerance, eating fish, eating pork, omega-3 supplements. So many things like that will disrupt your sleep. Or maybe you have high acetylcholine. High acetylcholine, coffee will screw up your sleep. Omega-3 supplements will screw up your sleep. So you might be taking something in your diet that is completely throwing your sleep off and you don't know it, or you might be missing something. So you really have to work backwards. Why do you think most bodybuilders look much older than their age? A lot of huge roided up guys tend to look older. Yes and no. There's guys that look older. I'll say the ones who eat shitty and then abuse the androgens. Then there's guys that'll be well into their 40s and 50s that look absolutely amazing. So look at all the old bodybuilders. The guys who kept lifting to their 70s, most of them who stuck true to their old 70s more cleaner diet with higher fat and less androgens looked amazing well into their later years. Look at guys like Jay Cutler, who looked, his skin and everything looked great into his later years. Then you have guys like, who have the rough, rugged skin and ages faster. those are the guys I would say that are eating too low fats, because, you know, a lot of bodybuilders, especially the new age guys, it's all about, you know, once they get to the size they get to, they just like completely cut fats out of their diet as low as possible, and all protein and carbs, so their skin doesn't have the materials needed for healthy skin. You know, your epidermis is 60% linoleic acid, which is polyunsaturated fats. They completely just eat so low fat that's not healthy for their body and their skin. They age. They eat a whole bunch of sugar, you know, like pre-workout drinks, which, you know, worsens your collagen production. And then they blast androgens today versus more anabolic compounds, a lot of them. So they're doing like a huge trifecta, or like 10 different ways to destroy their skin health and age them worse than they should be. So it's definitely a big mixture, I noticed, from a whole bunch of different things that they're doing. Okay, what the hell did I do there, guys? Oh yeah. Overhead and hammer curls, I think, yeah. Okay. 25 pounds. Oh, that's a little bit too heavy now. Okay, what am I doing? Hammer curls. Yeah, I'll do for 25. Okay. Okay, here we go. Yeah, too much. Okay, guys, let me get a drink. Okay, let me write this down before I die from no breath. What did I do? I did close grip, overhead, and hammer. I did. Trying to remember what I did for hammer curls. Oh shit, I did that wrong. Sorry guys, hold on. Okay, overhead I did 25. I did 25 pounds, and then I did 25. Hammer curls I did 60 pounds. I did 60 pounds and what, 25. I'm just gonna write this down here quickly, guys. What am I gonna do? Presses, I think. I'm going to do behind the neck press with wide grip upright rows. I'm going to do rear delt row with front raise. So yeah. Where are we? What do you think? No. What about delts? Yeah, I believe you just saw I started writing down delts. A lot of arms for your first arm workout, about half a year off training. Well, more than half a year, considering half the year before that only got 2 days in. Yeah, arms are done now. Arms are done. What is the most common cause of slow digestion and low stomach acid? So you can have high stomach acid and have slow digestion as well. High stomach acid, absolutely, will cause it too. So those are two different things that are not always intertwined. Slow digestion, most common cause, there's like probably 20 different most common causes. Most common cause is people eating something, I would say, that it doesn't agree with them, such as such as dairy. Proven to cause slow digestion in everyone, like whey and stuff like that. Any bit of dairy protein, for one of the first things. Other than that, if their gut bacteria is disrupted, too much fiber, man, that is a loaded question. I can't even answer that. Usually when I'm helping somebody with digestion, I ask them to list out everything, and then I can be like, okay, this is high risk, high risk, high risk, and then I look at their diet and be like, okay, you're also missing this nutrient and this nutrient. A little potassium will cause less stomach contraction to slower digestion. It's needed for gastric acid production, needed for cortisol production, which increases gastric acid. Vitamin B1 is needed to increase gastric acid. Chloride, salt, sodium chloride is needed for gastric acid production. So like there is, basically I'm going to write you a book listing all the things and the most common things. And that is literally like a huge book I'd literally spew off to you right now, versus it's much easier to lay out the diet and I can be like, okay, this shouldn't be in, and this is missing. Yeah, that is such too much of a loaded question to answer. Maybe it's me, but a lot of mass monsters have puffy faces even when they are lean. Do you notice this? Well, yeah, because a lot of the mass monsters, they're running GH year round. If you've ever ran GH, your face balloons right up within a couple days. Everybody on Facebook, I'm on YouTube right now, just so you know. Do you think that using a replacement dosage of Pharma GH, 1 IU per day, is a good choice or bad choice? Bad choice. I'd rather somebody run GHRPs than do that. Do tendonitis ever fully heal? I got bad tricep tendonitis, still hurting 4 months or less. Absolutely. You need to be putting in the right efforts to heal it though as well. Just logged on, sorry if this was already asked, but how much food are you pushing for the cycle? Tricky question. I can answer you with how much food I want to push, which is as much as I possibly can, upwards 7,000 calories. Am I going to get 7,000 calories? No, I'm not, definitely at all. I'm going to get probably 4 to 6K calories. I want to just like writing up on the board to what I ate, you know what I mean, what I'm getting in the day. But like I said a million times, this isn't this isn't my crazy pot. I love it. I love working out and I love doing this, but I hate eating. You know what I mean? I sit down and eat a meal for 30 minutes. I don't want to cook. I don't want to prep. I don't want to do any of that shit. I don't want to eat 5 times a day for 30 minutes. That's such a waste of a life to me. So I'm going to do my best, the best way that I can do it. And it's going to be a half-ass way, because that's the only way that I can see myself to mentally get through this. So yeah, 4 to 5,000 calories, 4 to 6,000. In a couple of days, I'm going to see how much I am eating so I can get kind of an average and know what I'm actually going to stick to. Oh yeah, I'm supposed to start delts. Yeah, do some behind the neck presses. What weight? Behind neck presses with upright rows. Maybe I'll start at 25 pounds. Yeah, let's do that. 25. I'm gonna lower the weight for this next one. I absolutely love these. One of my favorite delt exercises is a wide grip upright row. I love it better than side laterals. I feel it really great in your middle delt. Oh, that's too heavy for me. That's way too heavy. Probably gonna take shorter rest to finish off delts, guys. This is getting my endurance is really low. To balance with that, what are your meals looking like? Some liquid meals for me? Absolutely no liquid meals. I can't do liquid meals. Dairy, instant constipation no matter what. So, you know, no whey and stuff like that, which leaves me very crappy for getting in protein for a liquid meal. I can't do pea protein. Pea protein is something that I suggest to most everyone. I'm sure you guys know if you're my followers. Pea protein speeds the hell out of your digestion. It's amazing. I love it way more than whey. The issues, pea protein, high arginine. So some people with, let's say, hidden dormant viruses, so it will awaken those viruses basically. So for me, I have no freaking clue what it is. I think it's a monotype like sickness, because every single time I have high arginine foods, my throat gets sore and I break out into a full-blown cold like symptom. Like I get a runny nose, I get a cough, and I literally have a cold within the next day of taking anything high arginine. It's some type of viral thing. I think it's something like mono, I'm not too sure. But yeah, otherwise I'm fine. Literally take a high arginine food and bam. So liquid meals are absolutely off the go for me. I cannot, and that's what makes it so much more difficult for me. Do you like beef protein isolate? Absolutely no. Every beef protein isolate on the market, if you ask the company for what's on the back of it, you'll see it's just gelatin. It's not actual beef protein. If it's 24% glycine, the amino acid makeup, it is gelatin. You're buying expensive gelatin. You can go to the store and get gelatin for cheap. I cannot use gelatin. Gelatin for a lot of people, especially with FODMAP sensitivities or histamine sensitivities, gelatin will cause bloating and worsen your appetite. So that is off the go for me. So everything I'm eating has to be strictly meals, and it makes it more difficult for me. But at the same time, no matter any client I've ever had, like I just had a recent client who, you know, he refused to eat meals and he wanted lots of shakes. I blasted the hell out of the shakes, you know what I mean? Whole eggs and everything. And his gains were good, but you know, his gains were just not crazy. The second I got him even on less calories, but more of actual cooked whole foods, his weight just started exploding. So he's eating less and he's exploding. So, and that's the same thing I always noticed with me. When I did used to have weight gainers, like when I was younger, I would pound back like double the serving of weight gainer shakes. I would put you so much shit, just so much liquid meals, and I never gained, literally never gained. Do you believe small intestinal bacterial overgrowth is a real medical condition? Some doctors deny it exists. If yes, how would you? Absolutely, it exists. It's well proven to exist. Your small intestine should be sterile. If you have an overgrowth of small, you know, like it's a proven medical condition. How to treat it? That I can't answer that. You're asking me to write a book right now. You can cure it with antibiotics, but it would cure it short term. Antibiotics, it always comes back. So you need to figure out the root cause of why you have small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. Is it a weak alveolar valve, which is a valve between your small intestines and the large intestines, that's controlled by things like calcium? You know, if it's weak, it'll stay open, and it lets the bacteria from the large intestine overflow into the small intestine. Low stomach acid, slow digestion, which who knows from what nutrient. Literally that's writing a book on how to cure it, because you have to figure out what's causing it first, and there's a lot of choice to cause it. Is macadamia nut oil a better choice than virgin olive oil? At all costs, I like people to use no oils, and would rather them use nuts sorry, nuts and seeds, actual whole food. When you use an oil, you're stripping the food of its nutrients that it needs to actually process that macronutrient. So example we see with polyunsaturated fats, when you strip it from the seed or whatever, it strips some of the vitamin E. In every single gram of polyunsaturated fats that you do eat, you require a very specific amount of vitamin E. And if you do not have it with it, the body will steal vitamin E from your body and actually cause vitamin E depletion. So never use oils at all costs. Like, you are worsening your gains, your health, and everything like that. And there's no reason not to eat macadamia nuts. So basically, you know. Sorry guys. Do you believe in downregulation of androgen receptor sensitivity? Go to my website, tan.com. A couple posts down, you will see long cycle versus short cycle androgen receptor downregulation. Yeah, I was probably one of the first ones that found this, the studies to show that actually does happen. Hold on, let me do my workout here, guys, and I'll answer that one. Okay, androgen receptor downregulation. So if you go to my website, you'll see the article I wrote. So people used to say it doesn't happen, and this was because they're using the studies that would show, let's inject testosterone or whatever and test the androgen receptor content. Inject it, test it within a few hours. Oh wow, androgen receptors upregulated. Great. However, just because that happened within a few hours, just like any drug can, does that mean it didn't downregulate 1 week later, 10 hours later, a month later? This is, people spoke to prematurely on this. And that's exactly what I found the studies that showed when they tested men, when they first started, testosterone, whatever it was, androgen receptors upregulated. What happens so many months into the cycles? They downregulate it. They downregulate so much that they stated that there's no more anabolic benefit, only an anti-catabolic benefit. And this is what people normally notice. You Google, help my gains stop mid-cycle. You'll see tons of forum posts of people saying, you know, help, I gained 20 pounds the first few weeks. Now I'm eating so much more and I can't gain a single pound. And most everybody notice that happens too. That's what happens to me every cycle. That's why I only do short cycles. So many pros stated it. Dorian Yates, Kevin Levrone, Sean Ray, they all said, you know, in the off season, I start a cycle. I don't see the effects after so many weeks. So why would I stay on? I come off and I see the gains again. So yeah, and sorry guys, 1 second. Yeah, so what I also like to do with that is put the more real world results of studies into it as well. And you know, their studies on, example, Anavar, they give to people for 12 weeks. 90% of the strength and size gains was in the first 6 weeks. Going to 6 weeks to 12 weeks, only saw a 10% more benefit. Again, that was from anti-catabolic effect. What else? A test D cycle, they showed that before, you know, the strength and size gains, even with the long E's or test D, before it became non-linear, when the peak, when it started to level off, happened as soon as 3 weeks. So absolutely, it does happen. It's not my opinion. It's proven to happen. But yeah, opinion on probiotics, helpful or harmful, both. I don't like commercial probiotics. None have shown to really take host in the gut for longer than a couple weeks after you discontinue them. You can create, you know, excessive lactic acid. People get brain fog and stuff like that. I'd rather people focus on prebiotics from foods. That way, you get it increases your it not just increases your gut population better, but increases your diversity as well. How do you feel on just MVP Soul? I feel the best. Many people complain that they feel emotionless. I feel that's a benefit. most of the people who come to me and use the cycles that I suggest is because, you know, stuff like Tessie never got along with. They're emotional, you know, ruins their relationships, they're just up and down. Deca makes you feel very stoic and cold, you know, outside sources, things in your life can be affecting you, and you just, you know, you shove it all off. Like, it doesn't even affect you. You're very emotionless in a good way. Like, I still care and I'm very emotional, but like, I'm very stoic and I like it. I always tell people, look at it as like a 60s household man that you would, you know, see in movies and show, where it's like, you know, when their men are portrayed as very stoic, you know what I mean? They're like, you know, cold is a way to describe it, but you know, it's, I don't know, you just feel more calm with yourself. You're not letting your emotions like take over. That's the best way to put it. So I absolutely love it much better. Thanks. Pros and cons comparing DECA and versus NPP. DECA, proven in studies, you get more nitrogen retention, there's more estrogen conversion. The benefit of NPP, however, is if you don't want to stay on cycle for long, you want to recover quicker, NPP. I used to always use DECA, but now, you know, since I don't want to do this long term, I just want to get in and get out and call it quit. So I'm using it so I can get off quicker. What about sex drive though? So I'm not sure if you're in my group, but you notice, I don't know, 99 people out of 100 is their sex drive's through the roof. You either have people that are like, oh, my sex drive is just normal. It's not like rapist mode, like Tess, as some people describe it as. But I find 99 times out of 100, the people who use Nandrol actually over Tess say that it's insane. A joke we all have in the cult would be like, you know, people will start complaining that they're, you know, beating off 6 times a day. And, you know, that's what I find most people happen to. You know, my sex drive goes through the roof as well. You know, things like tests, and this is even proven in studies, even simple TRT tests can jack up your prolactin through the higher upper range, the upper normal range. Tons of people go on any TRT forums, even tests can destroy your sex drive. So people like to make it seem like, oh, it's DECA. You know, they hear one story about DECA, let's say DECA solo, because DECA tests together will cause it, but they hear one story DECA solo and they ignore the immense amount of men on TRT that have absolutely no dick on testosterone. So yeah, the majority of the people, the sex drive is even better than testosterone. However, you add testosterone with DECA, it kills your sex drive, because DECA increases the estrogen conversion of testosterone, so testosterone is now making more estrogen, which can kill your sex drive, and same with prolactin. And just a tidbit, anybody watching this who ends up saying later, oh no, estrogen is good for sex drive. No, there's endless studies on testosterone being low, high, or normal, and estrogen is always like the factor when it's high to destroy your sex drive. So, what else do you think someone should go on TRT, and what TRT doses do you recommend? You have 290, I have tests higher than reference range, E2 plus puberty gyno. I hate TRT, you're shutting down a whole bunch of hormones, you're setting yourself up for a disaster. Every single person, when they have low T, I suggest you try and recover it first at all costs. You know, Clomid, adequate fats. I've recovered so many of these people's testosterone levels. You know, they try PCT, Clomid, all this shit, right? But if your diet is not in place to actually help create the hormones and keep them up, then you're never gonna go anywhere. So many people, it was lack of specific nutrients in their diet that once, you know, you got them up, their test was fine. So that's your own personal decision. I myself at all costs would never go on TRT unless I was absolutely forced to and had to. You know, there's no way of me recovering. So yeah. Do you use anything for prolactin control? Absolutely not, because I only run DECA Solo in studies. Another bro myth, DECA Solo in studies lowers prolactin. Every single guy, whether on their 400 milligrams of DECA or 5,000 milligrams of DECA, which I've had people use, not my suggestion, their prolactin is low. So no, DECA does not raise it. DECA enhances testosterone's prolactin and estrogen conversion. That's why Tess and DECA is horror. When you're on DECA, you need nothing, like literally nothing to control sides. Generally, is finding authentic NPP more difficult in the USA or not really? No, I'd say not really. Sometimes it's faked with tests, but it's not, yeah, it's not rampant. When losing weight, is it right to lower carbs and up your fat while dropping fat? Absolutely no. Studies over and over again. When you do high fat, low carb, the initial weight loss is glycogen, so you see faster weight loss, but it's just like glycogen. But long-term studies always show that higher carbs end up losing more fat than higher fat diets. So absolutely not a horrid way to do it. Did you ever have very noticeable balding and regrow it? Yeah, that's what I'm known for. I had really horrible balding. I've balded like 5 times in my life, very badly. Go to my website, I think my picture's up there. Everybody knows it. That's where I became famous. So multiple times throughout my life where I had a horrible diet, and you know, whether it's using tests or this or that, or I was off for 2 years and had the worst diet in the world. My hairline receded like 2+ inches. And then I, you know, got on a healthier diet. I did the things that I do, that I suggest in my article on TIN.com. And I, you know, I do everything there, and I regrow my hairline, same as I've regrown it from many other people. So, yeah. Okay, hold on guys. I'm being really stupid with my workout here. Reverse, reverse delt rows. This is the way I like to do reverse delt rows, guys. I feel it the best this way. I don't feel any other reverse flies, more for rear delts, but this exercise, which is from Athlean-X, I pull up and then I push my my hands out with my elbows in. And then I'm going to do front raises. People, another bro science thing I hate, most every single pro out there does front raises. I got into a trap of not doing front raises, say, oh, bench and front presses is enough to grow your front delts. Absolutely not for most people. I stopped doing them. My front delts look weird because they stopped growing. It looks weird as shit. So for most people, I feel like you need isolation of every single exercise. Okay. Okay. How do you go from TRT to DECA only? Stop TRT for about 10 to 14 days. That way it lets estrogen go down a little bit. Okay, I eat healthy, no androgens for 2 years. My testicles have some issues. It's kind of like a scapegoat thing everybody says. They say I eat healthy. Eating healthy is like some general broad term. Because you think you eat healthy doesn't mean you're eating healthy and adequate for all your hormones and everything you need. You know, somebody says they're eating healthy. What does that mean? Chicken, broccoli, and rice. Most every single person that I've helped, they were not eating what they need to be eating. Just because you're eating clean doesn't mean you're eating what you need to be eating. Most every single time I up the specific fats, and they need a lot of cholesterol and stuff like that in people's diet, and I jacked it through the roof, and what do you know, their testosterone recovered. So, you know, you saying you eat healthy doesn't mean, you know, you are actually eating what your body needs. Chia seeds are touted as a superfood nowadays. Do you agree? Sorry guys, I'm so out of breath. I hate the term superfood because honestly, every single food is a superfood that is like an untouched whole food. Pineapple has bromelain in it, which is, you know, anti-cancer, anti-inflammatory, helps digestion, helps increase protein uptake, all these benefits. Same with papaya, kiwi does the same thing. Every single food is a goddamn superfood. I could break down every single food out there and list all these freaking amazing benefits, and it's like, oh wow, like, you know, so every single food has health benefits. So is chia seed a superfood? Absolutely, but so is basically every single other food. My prolactin drops below range on DECA only, whereas even TRT doses of testosterone send it to the top range. Yep, and that's what you see in studies. What amounts are you running with this one? I'm doing 60 milligrams NPP every day, so 420 milligrams a week. I calculate to meet all my macros. Again, it's not, so you need every single particular macros, of course. Example, low potassium leads to low testosterone production. You need so many macros, but again, the main thing that I pointed out here was the fat. No matter you're hitting all your micronutrient goals, if you're under eating, and specifically under eating fats, which some people had to up it to like 100, even for a small size guys, I've had to up them to almost 200 grams of fat, and then finally their hormones kicked up and started working. And I'm talking guys that are like 160 pounds. And like we know, every study, fats increase hormone production. and you have higher than normal E2, well, that, you know, that means your balls are working because you're creating that high estrogen from somewhere. You know, even if you're higher body fat, you're not going to create that much more, especially considering how much is made via your testicles from testosterone to estrogen. Do you think using non-aromatizable androgens alongside testosterone can offset the increase in estrogen prolactin? Absolutely, and it's proven to. I've had guys that use low dose pre-Mullen cycles of tests and they actually crush their estrogen actually. With increasing fats, are you dropping calories? If it's out of hand, but still in a surplus, you want to be in a surplus, because that study show, you know, when you're dieting or anything like that, like there's so many natural bodybuilders out there that when they're dieting, they show their hormones are crushed or destroyed, and studies show that too. Women become infertile, men become infertile. So I like when people are recovering hormones to be in a surplus. Carbs, again, yeah, so you said carbs, not calories. Yeah, like I just said, same answer, yes and no. You need your carbs, but if you're in an insane surplus, and yeah, you drop them a little bit. Okay, thanks. I will try 100 grams of fat diet. Like I just said, no, I've had like really small people need almost 200 grams of fat. You shoot up to 100 grams of fat for like a normal sized male. Like that's not a normal diet. If we're out in the wild, you know what I mean? We would not be getting 100 grams of fat. We'd be getting a lot more. Bodybuilders and people, so average people today, they're so scared of fat. So, oh, can't have fat, I'm going to get fat. And then same with bodybuilders, say, oh, chicken, broccoli, and rice, end up getting 40 grams of fat, and they're so scared to increase their fats anymore. It's like, no, you want to be healthy, increase your hormone production, you get a lot more than 100 grams of fat if you actually want to see if it works. You should drop some recipe videos. I was thinking about it. I just have so much going on right now. You know what I mean? I'm trying to do the workout, I'm trying to do this, but that is definitely something on my plate. Because I feel that the foods I eat, most people love them. Like, main thing I say, if you can't stick to a diet, it's because you're not seasoning your foods properly. I'm all about lots of sauces, lots of seasonings, and just, you know, coating the shit out of your meat for that like amazing flavor food. I know you said you get as lots of women attention when you're jacked. When you stop lifting, do you get any less attention? Yeah, hold on, let me say that in the back, guys. Okay. Oh. Oh. Okay, that's kind of a big topic, so I need to do my workout there first. Okay, shit, yes, sir. I know you said you get lots of women attention when you're jacked. When you stop lifting, do you get way less attention? I'm not sure where you read that. I'm not sure if you were one of the group chats where I was talking to guys about this, or on one of the posts where they're talking about looks maxing or whatever. Sorry, Brad. So I'll explain the story kind of all over again as I did there. So before I got any size and I was really skinny, I never got any attention. You know, obviously I had girlfriends, but you know, it was me asking them out. I never really got approached. I mean, you know, like a couple times in my life I got approached, okay? Like a couple times. Yeah, so like a couple times. Then the second I got big, it was like a whole world of difference. Like, I used to work outside. I'd get catcalled nonstop. Girls would pull up in the car and stop and say like, oh, I like your tattoos or stupid shit like this. If they don't like my tattoos are stupid. I'd have people stop and ask to squeeze my arms, ask me to flex. Working outside, past people's homes, like construction work. And people would come up and be like, oh, if I was any younger, you know, I'd like you, oh, come meet my niece, and bring up their niece and shit like that. And ask for my number. My bar experience, they'd walk through the mall, even if I had like a girlfriend at the time. I'd walk through the mall, they'd be like, oh, he's hot or he's buff or stuff like that. Especially the bars. Literally when I'd go to a bar when I'm big, it is just non-stop attention. So let's say I go to the bar, like non-stop, I'm getting my ass pinched, my arms grabbed. It's like literally a complete rape. And I'll be ignoring girls too, you know, talking with my friends. Girls be like pinching my butt, and I'll look back, and you know what I mean? And they're like, I don't know, just standing there waiting. And I turn around and they do it again, and they just keep doing it and doing it. Or same with girls trying to like grind up on me, have my phone in front of me. It's like, no, like, you know, don't come near me. Don't do that. I get approached nonstop. Like, there's so many funny experiences where, okay, so here's the thing, like, I'm very like awkward and quiet and shy and stuff like that, right? Especially people I don't know. So like, you know, I'd be at a bar and like girls would come up to me and, you know, flat out start talking to me. So many times I'm out with my buddies. A girl would be standing there talking to me, and she's just like, I remember this one girl in particular, she stood there for like 15 minutes, right? She's like looking up at me, just standing there and talking to me like, so like this, and she's like smiling, thinking, I don't know, she's all suave or whatever like that. And I'm just like this the whole time, like shaking my head, and she's just like staring at me trying to talk, and I'm like looking around and stuff like this. And for like 10 minutes straight or 15 minutes straight, and it's so uncomfortable. And I'm just standing, you know what I mean? Just standing there. It's so many instances like that. What are some, there was another one I was gonna say, now I can't remember. What was another, there's another really funny one. Yeah, I don't know. Girls come up start telling me like how much you bench, and like I really don't know how much I bench, and I'll be I don't know. I don't lift the max. Like I don't know. Like literally, I get raped and molested, and girls just nonstop. So yeah, and my question to when I'm skinny. So like I said before, I get no. Do you ever get annoyed at that? Yeah, especially when I'm not interested, because I have like a very specific type that I like, and you know, I very don't like the typical woman of today where it's like, oh, it's cool to, you know, because I'd like to say I'm not like a slutty guy in that sense, and I don't like the girls that are, you know, like flaunting all over, you know what I mean, like they're look like they're half naked and, you know, they're all over me and stuff like, or, you know, just in general acting like that and drunk. You know, I don't like party animals and shit like that. So, you know, if a girl comes up to me and she's sending that vibe and stuff like that, you know what I mean, I'm just like, yeah, I don't want anything to do with it. Or if they keep trying to grind on me, it's like, okay, like fuck off already. So what's, yeah, when I'm skinny, it is completely different world, dude. I get zero look, zero attention, except for like that one random time that'll be like out of the blue, out of nowhere. So last time I went to a bar when I was skinny, because I like to be an idiot sometimes too, like just joke around, like, you know, I'm shy, no humor, but sometimes I like to do something stupid. The last time a girl came up to me when I was skinny, and I actually did go to a bar, came up to me, my friend, and she went to like shake my hand or something like that, introduce herself, and I tried to do, you know, I tried to do some like stupid handshake, right? Like I went up and I go to shake and I do this and I try and do this, right? And normally, you know what I mean, I'm jacked, whatever, a girl would be like, oh, you know, like she'd just be all over me. She'd probably try and hug me or something stupid like that. I try and do the stupid handshake. She gives me the most disgusting look in the world. It's like this, and she literally walks away. I do the most stupidest, silly thing, and she literally walks away. And that's like the only time I've been approached, you know, after being jacked to skinny again. And, you know, I don't get approached. I barely get looked at. And like, it is the complete opposite spectrum. When I am big, it is just like non-stop stares. And anytime that I had a girlfriend, you know, we'd be out at a store or something like that, like all they mention non-stop is, you know, they get so pissed off because girls are staring at me and, you know, just even saying things. So when I am jacked, it's like being a celebrity, like non-stop attention, non-stop, just like women drooling over you in that sense. And when I'm skinny, I can't, you know, it's just like, I'm just there. I just blend in. So that's a long story. So yeah, when you talk about DECA dosages, I'm assuming you advise the same dosages regardless of ester. Yes and no. As I mentioned earlier, with DECA and studies, it proved almost double the nitrogen retention for equal the dose. So when it's shorter esters, I like a little bit higher dosages. But yeah. All right, guys, let me get a drink and then you do that other set. Okay, guys, let me do my last set of delts here. I dragged this workout way too long for the amount of sets I did. You guys totally messed up my workout. before this one. Shit. So, mouth is so dry from talking so much. Okay, front raises. Okay. What's post-workout meal? Right now, no idea. Yeah, I'm not too sure now because I ate. I should have waited longer until I ate, but I just ate right before. Do you think a guy with an average looking face but jacked with tattoos would get more attention, or a skinny guy with no tats and a great looking face? That's tricky. You say, here's the thing though, you're forgetting that, you know, what you do with your face, you know what I mean? Like facial hair and stuff like that, right? You know, you changing your shit can completely change the way you look, so you can look average but look really, really good, right? And that depends on what you mean by average, right? Like that is very tricky. Like it depends on what you mean by great looking face. Like you picture some model, I don't know, some model guy, like, you know, skinny Brad Pitt or something like that, you know what I mean, versus average jacked. But it's like, well, how average is his face? Like, I feel like what you're saying is kind of equal tier. It's kind of equal tier depending on how great the face is and how average the face is. Because picture this, what was I gonna say? Just like you when you're picking women. Imagine a girl with the best face in the world, but no breasts or no butt, and you might not be interested in that. But then picture a girl with an average face and had the most amazing bottom and the most amazing, you know, top part. You might go for that. You know, that's totally your preference. Some people may value the face or the body more, right? So it's more of like an equal thing and a preference thing too at the same time, right? And then, you know, there's so many other factors. Are their heights the same and stuff like that too, right? Best supplements for insulin sensitivity. Look at your diet, make sure you're getting everything you need for your insulin sensitivity. Adequate magnesium, adequate potassium, adequate chromium. Those main things. More polyunsaturated fats. Those are the main items for insulin sensitivity that they're usually off, is what's, you know. Can long-term TRT cause androgen receptor downregulation symptoms similar to longer cycles? Yes, your androgen receptors return back down to baseline. There are studies on TRT that show it returns to baseline, so you're no longer getting, this is why you don't keep growing. You give men TRT, they gain muscle, but they don't keep growing. Androgen receptors go up and then they go back down to normal. I mean, average looking face, like nothing special to his face, like most people you see, but true. You know, that is so... Okay, you say average looking face and you say somebody with a great face. Does this great face have like a really bad body? Because you say skinny, you know, skinny lean actually looks pretty good on a lot of people. But if you're talking about like completely skinny fat disgusting versus somebody with an amazing body, then I'd say it's average. But you know, that's just my opinion. Women don't care about your belly unless they're into some sport activity. But that's another thing that women would say, like, let's say they're with a guy who's average height, average body, they'll be like, oh, you know, like, you know, I love this. Then they go and meet a jack guy or a tall guy or something like that. And the next thing you know, they're like, oh my God, like, this is the best thing ever. Or, you know, other guys didn't have this, they didn't have that. And like, they just shit on every other guy. Obviously it's individual though too, right? You know, like I'm really tall, so most girls I dated, they never really been with a tall guy, right? And then, you know, as soon as they're with a tall guy, all they do is shit on the guys that were shorter and stuff like that. Be like, I feel so, you know, feminine and like taken care of and, you know, shit like that. And then, you know, it just depends. Like, it's the same thing. It's the same thing with guys, right? Like, imagine having, you know, like I was saying, a girl has a great body, but an average face. But, you know, as soon as what if you had a girl with a great face and a great body? You're like, wow, this is like amazing. Do you know what I mean? It's some of the things you can live without. Like a girl could live without a great body, or she could live without a great face. You know what I mean? But you know, if she had both, she's gonna be like, wow, this is fucking amazing, right? It's the same with things like a lot of guys don't have butts. I don't have a butt right now. I haven't been working out, but when I do work out, I like to focus on my glutes a lot. And as soon as my glutes get bigger, she's like, I've never liked girlfriends would always say, oh, I've never liked asses, but you know, like you have an ass, it's like, wow, like I love it so much, and they're just so like amazed by it, and they just want to keep grabbing it and touching it. You know what I mean? Isn't there a study out there for the whole alpha male thing? So if you're a jacked woman, look at you, safety is a brighter. I believe there is, you know, like hunter gatherer shit like that. So same with us, you know, right? They say subconsciously we look at a woman with big hips because they'll be a good childbearing, good for childbearing, big breasts because they raise a healthy baby and stuff like that, right? So just like men, you know, they see a tall man, a jacked guy, a big guy, he looks like he's a hunter, he's gonna go fight a saber-toothed tiger, you know what I mean? He's going to provide for your family, he's gonna be the best person to make money for you, right? Take care of you. Why don't you recommend eating oatmeal? I love it. It's the best food. Any tips on how to make it camel approved? I don't like oatmeal because of its gluten-like peptides, as they say, like Avin. It's still for basically gut damage. When I'm giving somebody a health diet, I like to avoid all gut damaging possible foods. Just came into the stream. Are you on cycle already? If not, when do you plan to start, and will you notify us? Yeah, I started yesterday, 60 milligrams NPP. Today's my second workout. 210 yesterday, woke up at 215. I'm like 218 right now. Second day. Can cinnamon be considered as a GDA? Yes, but you're masking an issue. To me, it's not worth it. You want to do what I said above. Been there. I got a woman at work, she's 44 and I'm 27. She went into my changing room and stared at my quads and she loves them. That's the thing. Oh, let's say a woman has a guy that's buff at top and he has abs or something like that, she's all about them. She doesn't care about quads. But the second let's say her guy got quads, or she's with a guy that has all of that plus the quads, she's like, oh my god, you know what I mean, they're so amazing. So it's like, you know, once they see him and they love him. Correct me if I'm wrong, but on your insulin article, you recommend not eating too much fruit on insulin. How much fruit do you think is brewed today? I don't recommend eating too much fruit in general. Too much fructose isn't healthy, and especially for digestive issues. Too much fructose, everybody has a specific set point for fructose malabsorption. You want your total fructose amount from diet to be between about 30 to 35 grams is usually my suggestion. That is fructose amount, right? And that's like more of the upper limit depending. That's, you know, most fruit are half fructose and half glucose. So there's your answer. So, you know, let's say you eat 70 grams of carbs from bananas, 35 of that would be fructose. Is adequate magnesium, electrolytes, and chromium enough to combat MK677 insulin resistance? No, because it's working via a different mechanism there. You need adequate magnesium to ensure you can, you know, utilize and dispose of glucose adequately. You are adding something that is not doing it via electrolytes, if you understand what I'm saying. Depends on how much MK67 you're using and how great your insulin sensitivity is. You having a really great diet and then using things like bitter melon and stuff like that, then you absolutely would be able to control it safely and effectively. What test levels do you think someone needs to go on TRT? Is 450 milligrams normal for you? 450 milligrams is not a bad number. Could you be higher? Absolutely. If somebody's making 450 milligrams, their body's fine. It's working. Your Tesla goals are working. You just need to fix something that is not 100% optimal. Do you offer one-off sessions for consulting? I normally don't, just because I hate leaving. Depends on what the issue is. So yes and no. I hate somebody coming to me for, let's say, a one-off diet plan. It's like, I don't know your body. I prefer time to work with people and be like, okay, because, you know, so many people, I'll write them this great diet, but it's like, oh, they're a really hard fucking gainer. and they actually need insane amounts more of like fats as example to grow. And then it's like, you know, we waste a few weeks on a cycle or something like that, and they're not gaining. I'm like, dude, you're a really hard gainer. Like, you should be gaining. And I'm not conservative. You ask any of my clients, I'm like, go all up mass, eat so much freaking food. So if those rare occurrences, somebody is not gaining, it's like, shit, dude, you need a lot. And I had to pound back so much food, and I wish I had did that sooner. So a one-off consult always ends up being people coming back for more. And especially if it's like digestive issues or stuff like that, you cannot fix a digestive issue in one go. Have I done it? Absolutely, but it's like a fluke. You know, somebody has severe diarrhea they've had for 10 years. I look at their diet and I'm like, okay, I think it might be this, and we do it and bam, it's fixed. But like that is more of a rare occurrence. So I hate doing that because you end up having to come back for more. Some guy talks to me, he said he stays lean and 140 pounds at 6'3" and 500 calories a day. Do you think it's possible? I do think it's possible if majority of his calories were like all protein and some carbs. Because as we know, protein doesn't really count as calories. When they overfed people 1,000 calories of protein a day, they did not gain any extra weight. They actually lost more fat. So is it possible? Yes. In my mind, just based off the new research that we keep coming out with, and based on my own experience, I always used to pound back the protein, especially the carbs, and my carbs would be insane and I will not gain weight. So absolutely yes. Is it likely that he's actually doing that? I don't think so, but if he is, it's likely because he's not eating enough fat, then he's overdosing on carbs. I got clutches in form. What this can be, it happens when you first raise my arm. Feels like no blood. I'm not too sure what you mean by clutches. Maybe some potassium, you were taking letrozole. So you're worried about having high blood pressure in your circulation, cutting off, pinching nerves. I'm not too sure what you mean by clutches. Let me do some forearms, guys. Let's do them here, I guess. Ugh. Okay, what am I doing? Reverse curls and normal curls. I don't know how much weight I need. Let's go with 15. See if we can do it. I'm not sure if you guys can even see this. Oh. My pump's probably fading now. I had a decent pump going there. I'm so worn out. Okay. What was that last time? 15 or 15 and a half? Okay, but I have a little bit of a pump, right guys? I can barely flex. I feel so weak right now. What does that say? A bit over 16 and a half. The camera's delayed, so I can't see if you guys see that, but yeah, I think that's right. So a bit over 16 and a half, but I have a little bit of a pump going still. So we'll see what it is at the end of the week when I'm not working out arms. I'm still obviously gonna, I know by the end of the week, my body's gonna fill up more too, just because when I get more food in and I recover from the workout. And after you work out, your body stores more glycogen, so, yeah. I mean, like stitch in my muscle, get tense and like squeeze on its own. You mean like a muscle twitch? He says no matter what he eats, he stays lean. He eats super fatty foods, also anything high calorie. Whenever it's this case, I say, let's see your diet, right? Guarantee he's not eating what he's saying he's eating, and he's not. So many people be like, oh, I'm eating healthy, I'm eating high fat, I'm doing this. And you look at the diet and it's like, no, you're not eating healthy, you're not eating high this, you're eating stupid. Can you say a little more about bitter melon? Never heard of it before, either on your site or Facebook group. Bitter melon is one of my favorite items to use for people with very high blood sugar. It's amazing. It's something like, I don't care how insulin resistant you are, you take bitter melon, it's going to get you into range. It's one of my favorite little secret tips I use for high blood sugar. What is your wrist measurement? I don't know. I'm an Ecto 2. Um, so a bit under 7, but my forearms are feeling a little pumped from that thing, so I feel a little waterlogged right now from this, even though I'm so small and skinny. Can you bench 315 now? I have no clue what I could bench right now. I can guarantee I could do the 90 pounds on the dumbbells for reps. You can guarantee it. You guys gonna edge me on to do it and hurt myself? I got guys coming to me at the gym claiming they eat a lot but can't grow. Yeah, they're either overeating just carbs and sugar, which isn't gonna do shit, or they're actually not eating as much as they think they are. Are you pure minoxidil used for face roots? Absolutely, because it breaks down collagen. This is why so many people use minoxidil. Even if it's on the head, it gets on the face a little bit, and they look aged. Look at thread minoxidil and aging. How many people quit it because it ages their face? I got really small wrists and I'm an endo. Yeah, you know, it's not really like the whole ecto thing. You know what I mean? I still like the term to use as like when you're talking about somebody, describing somebody, not that their metabolism is more so different. When I say ecto, I like to describe like the frames of people. You know what I mean? An ecto is somebody who is just smaller in general, their bones and their body at their current state. So, you know, I don't use it in like the scientific terms people try to use it as, like it had a specific science to it. I still like to use the term just for, you know, just describing a bigger person or a smaller person. I would say you're meso ecto, not a clear ectomorph. You have a pretty good body size. Hold on. Let me show you my let me show you a before picture. Okay. Where is this? Where the hell is this picture? Come on. I hate having so many pictures in your phone. Where the hell is this picture? Okay. I'm not sure how well you guys are gonna see this. I'll try it here first and see if it shows. It takes a second for me to see what's showing on my screen, guys, so I'm just gonna have to hold this here for a second so I see if you guys can see this. Okay, yeah, so I can see it now. So this was me at 155 pounds. This was after I got over 200 pounds, and then I shrunk back down to 155 pounds here. And this was me at 145 pounds. Again, I'm just waiting to see if you can see. The YouTube is delayed by like a good 20 seconds, so I don't know if it's showing a good enough picture. Yeah, so that was me at 145 pounds at the same height. Yeah, and as for strength, yeah, so when I first started training, I used to train in always heavy, because I like training heavy. I like 5 reps and 6 reps and stuff, but it never got me that much size. It wasn't until I trained lighter. Like my last cycle where I got to 250 pounds, I was only curling like 20 pounds most of the time, and my arms grew 1.5 inches bigger than they ever been. I was 6'4". None of those pictures were like when I was like 12 or something like that, if you're thinking that. Those were all at my max height adult. So Yeah, so 6'4". The lowest I ever noticed myself weigh was 145, and then I got back down to 155 a few times. So I will say over time though, I feel like my body's definitely changed, and I think it says a lot more fats. Like I said, I don't drop down as weight too much, so I always like a little bit more thicker than normal. But I guarantee you, if I stopped eating the fat, I could shrink back down to my 155. Can you take off your shirt? I did a video before I started this yesterday. I took off my shirt and in my underwear, and I swirled around a few times. But I'm saving that till I get to the end. Because if I fuck up and I give up before the 6 weeks, then I fucked up. So, and then like next few workouts, even this workout, I wanted to put on a sweater because I wanted to kind of hide it, and I want to, keep a sweater in, wait for a couple weeks into it till the size really explodes, and then bam. Lisa, oh shit, forearm curls. Hold on, guys. You guys have totally destroyed my fucking workout. I'm wondering if I should keep live streaming workouts because I get answering too many questions. It's tricky. Either I was thinking maybe I ignore the questions and just explain what I'm doing, or I do the live stream after. Very tricky on what to do because I don't want to, like, if I keep ruining my workouts and letting my endurance and everything go, then I'm not going to see the best results. So it's kind of tricky at what I should do, right? I mean, my workout's pretty much over now. I'm just doing forearms, so. I mean, it was over a little bit ago, right? This is my first week, but normally I do like to go a little bit more. I notice I don't have as much mind-muscle connection when I'm talking to you guys because I'm like focused on the camera, and normally I'd like to focus a little more on squeezing each rep. I'm just gonna back up here for a second, guys, like you did last video, just to see how kind of look at this. Maybe I'll do a shirtless one after, whatever. Just kind of a little bit of comparison of what I think I stood here neck last time. But yeah. Oh. So tomorrow, I think I'm going to do an actual rest day because, I did a lot in 2 days, and then I'm going to do legs. I just want to make sure I get everything in quickly so I get the glycogen back in all my muscles so they look a little more fuller quickly. How much MPP are you taking? Yes, MPP solo, 60 milligrams a day. Second day. My friend developed hypothyroid symptoms after an intense cut. Even after years of eating in a surplus, the symptoms never went away. Would this be worth a total trial of thyroid hormone? No. I'd say look at what he might be missing in the diet. Potassium's needed for thyroid production and sensitivity. Selenium's needed for the conversion. Adequate carbs, but it sounds like you said you got that. What else? Adequate iodine. So he might, from his cut, he might have depleted some of his nutrients. Maybe he needs to do a replete. Like, let's say somebody's low on copper. Most people only get like 1 milligram in their diet. When you need to replete it, you need to do like 8 to 12 milligrams for months. So he might have depleted a nutrient, and he might not have repleted it yet just by eating a normal or surplus diet. Because because you're eating a surplus doesn't mean you're in a surplus of your nutrients. Wow, we're at 2 hours, guys. I had a 2-hour workout with like barely any sets. Low copper. Let me write some things down quickly. List your questions or whatever. Figure out try to remember what I did. I want to do this, guys, because so when I look back on it, I have everything written down, right? So I can see the workout I did, and then like when I go back to the video, I can see the reps or the sets, whatever, and everything's written down. Would this replete be food only, or would supplement be needed? Depends on what he is low on. You know, he might want to go get some tests done, like a hair mineral test and stuff like that. He might need some supplements, especially if it's hard to get nutrients. He definitely might. When you refer to ecto, meso, or endo, do you refer to if someone is fat most of their lives or skinny, or do you usually mean body frame structure when you say it? When I say I'm meaning a combo, so somebody who has a small frame and is always skinny, like no matter what, and then same with endo, has a big frame and always fat. That's what I refer to when I use it as that. Yeah. Hold on, guys. Let me go to the washroom 1 second and get a drink of water. Alright, guys. Yeah, I'm really excited about this. I really hope I stick to it. I really want to make an insane transformation on video. I think by usually the last few times I did this, by the 4th or so day, so by the next time I actually come on, definitely should look a lot fuller. You know, because now I hit my whole upper body, so now the glycogen is going to be able to really fill me up as long as I keep eating. Diagnosing of symptoms alone is a wild chase usually. Yeah, it definitely is. Okay, never mind. Already answered that. Yeah, I also want to try and do this later in the day when more people are on, like around 7 o'clock, but my sleep schedule has been a bit off right now, so I've been waking up really early. So I usually get a meal in and then I try and do my workout now. Or early. Well, it's 10:30 now. This workout wasn't supposed to be 2 hours. But yeah. What are your opinions on Brazil nuts? If you check my old Facebook post like 7 years ago, they used to be a staple. I always used to suggest for people to get selenium, just don't overdo them. Alright guys, I might end this soon unless anybody has any more questions. Sorry, just checking a couple of things. Alright guys, anybody have any more questions? So I'm just playing with the lights. I'm waiting to see if anybody has anything. What size insulin needle I'm using? I have no clue. I'd have to go check. The length is the 1/2 inch. As for the gauge, I don't even know. Are you still opposed to test only cycles, or are they okay if you solo? That's individual. Majority of users, like studies show 24% to 75% get gynecomastia off low doses T. Completely individual. If you don't get gynecomastia, acne, this and that, and this and that, then, you know, sure, go ahead, use it. But if you get those sides, then, you know, did I drink tomato juice? No. No tomato juice. My pump is fading very bad though now. I probably need to get some carbs into me. Would you ever get a hair transplant if you could regrow hair? I'm not sure what you mean. I'm not too sure what you mean. If you could regrow hair, why would you get a hair transplant? Would you ever get a hair transplant if you went bald and couldn't regrow hair? Okay, that makes more sense. No, just because I don't like the way the hair transplant look. No matter what, you don't get that natural lineup. I mean, I'm sure a very skilled surgeon could, but you can just always tell, like, the way it's, whether it's receding on the side, you know, the size here, the way the hairline matches up. Because I know I can regrow anyway, right? So you know, it's not really. I mean, if I absolutely cannot regrow for some strange reason, even though I know I can and it's possible, then yeah, maybe that was my only option. Have you ever had any of your clients had issues with increased aggression from DECA only? I stopped any form of test as aggression side effects were just ridiculous. No, normally don't see that at all. Normally very calm and kind of stoic. As I explained earlier, you're very calm is the best way to describe it. What day is it anyways, guys? It's Sunday or Monday? Oh shit, it's Sunday. Not bodybuilding related, but have you or would you ever use any psychedelic plant medicines? No, I'm very scared of psychedelic drugs. I don't like the thought of something altering my mind and then being worried about never getting back from it. Just because a lot of horror stories that I personally have been around, in a sense, where people took it and it kind of like altered their reality permanently. So I don't like the thought of those. Got a little bit of gyno and back acne from previous cycle with tests. Now I'm on the Deca Solo. Can I take Nova on Deca Solo to get rid of the gyno? Will it slow it down? It's not going to slow down gains. How long have you been on Deca Solo? Because you should notice it start to despite on its own anyways. Most guys will notice how, they switch to Deca and the gyno starts to shrink anyways. So you could do that, and if you don't want to do that, I would suggest using some cod liver oil and vitamin E as a more of a natural anti anyways. Because either way, you're going to have to block estrogen or lower it to get rid of it, right? Did facial hair get thicker with year and age? With age, no. It's always been the same. The only thing that alters, because I started using gear at like 17, and it was about the same then. The only thing that's altered it is when I'm low hormones. Let's say I'm off hormones for like a year straight and I'm low hormones, it'll start to get thinner. And then when I'm on hormones, it gets thicker. So mainly just hormones. Yeah, guys. So I might end this in a minute, as I already said a few times. After I've gotten massive. I checked my weight, but I have lots of water in me from the workout right now. I'm 219.6. So yeah, in the next few days, I know the glycogen is going to fill back up in the muscles. So it should look a lot fuller. I'm so drained now from that workout. I don't know why. But I'm definitely going to have the day off tomorrow. Yeah, definitely not going to work out legs. My whole upper body's hit and I'm feeling drained. So definitely not a day off. And then I'm going to do legs. And then I'm probably going to have another day off after that. Do the upper body more time to recover. And then I'm going to start on a bro split probably. Yeah, I don't think you'll regret it if you get sides from tests. Like, estrogen and... acne, aggression, any of those sides, you won't regret it. Most people like the way Deca makes them feel because it makes them feel very stoic and calm and just, emotions don't get to you. It's a very nice feeling. Yeah, any more questions, fellas? Otherwise, I should probably go cook soon. With taking orals, is milk thistle the best for helping your liver? Absolutely not. I hate it. It blocks the androgen receptor. You block androgen receptors, you block gains, and it's estrogenic. I hate it. TUDCA is very good. TUDCA, taurine, even NAC. I don't like NAC long term, but like ox bile, TUDCA, and taurine for your liver. Those are better, and they don't have the same side effects. Would you rather be big Grammy size or 145 pounds again? Well, I don't like being 145 pounds. If I had to look like Grammy, that's a very different question. Big Grammy size, but my shape and, still me, yeah, I'd probably pick big Grammy size. I've never wanted to look that way. I've always like just, Callum von Moger at his bulk stages. I like that look for my height. I like a very specific look. What I hate about a lot of pro bodybuilders is the very wide back. I like a narrow back with big traps. I hate wide backs. I just think I don't like the look. So, I wouldn't be that happy to look like that long term. I'd rather a much different flow. I'd rather keep my flow and be that size, sure. I'd want to if I could be smaller than him, yeah. If I had to pick. Whew. Drained. Yeah, all right, guys. Unless another question comes through, I'm gonna give it like another minute. I'm gonna get it off just because I'm feeling so drained. Do you think there's a point of no return for hair loss? No. Do I think it'd be very hard? Yeah, but no, just because, you know, there's studies like the guy with spironolactone, he was bald since he was like 20s, and in his 60s he started regrowing his hairline from spironolactone. I think if you just went at it hard enough, that you're good. Would you ever compete? Would I ever, or could I ever? You know, that's very different. Let's say if I was able to stick to it, you know, if I was able to stick to my diet and stuff like that, and, you know, get the size that I would feel comfortable competing at, if I was ever going to compete, I'd actually, you know, I'd want to look great in my eyes. And I don't know if I'll ever stick to working out and stuff like that to get there. And then if I did look at that, would I ever compete? I don't know. Like, I just don't see the benefit in it, right? It's like, well, what would be the benefit? Yeah, to me, there might be no benefit. So would I compete even if I was happy? I don't know. I don't think so. I don't really see benefit in it. Because to me, bodybuilding, I've always looked at, you know, I never wanted to have a better body than somebody else or this or that. I just wanted to, you know, let's say I had the perfect image in my head of what I want to look like. That's what I'd want to do. And, you know, whether that could beat somebody else's physique, that, you know, wouldn't really matter to me, I guess. You know, I just had the perfect image I want to look like, and that's it. So following the 6 weeks on, 5 weeks off protocol, would you PCT in between or just have your 5 weeks off? Completely individual. If I'm using DECA, I just come off and let the DECA ride out, and then I get back on and take like that 1 week dip of hormones being low. That's what I do. You can go on a TRT or you can go PCT. They all have their ups and downs. Just back up to 19 viewers. Woo. I keep wanting to go, but then I think, oh, every time I say I'm going to go, because I think the lag between YouTube, so I end up posting a question and then end up waiting for that next question. How are fake natties gaining lean muscle without fat? Well, it depends on what you're asking. Usually fake natties are not big guys, right? Fake natties are usually guys that are like fitness model, and they stay in between a certain weight gap, right? So they're like bulk for like 5 or 10 pounds and then they cut, you know what I mean? So they're not really bulking hard. Would androgen receptors are set on TRT dose? It's not proven to. My experience with all my clients is that it does. Or you need to go completely cold turkey. Oh yeah, I answered that above. Thanks for answering questions. I'll turn it next time. Awesome. Yeah, I'm just waiting a minute here because the viewers keeps going up. It's at 20 again now, and I'm seeing if anybody has questions and answer them before I go. Everyone hit the like button, yeah, for sure. Yeah, well, I don't even know what improves the algorithm. I believe comments does, people said. So if like buttons do, absolutely. What is your views on Z's physique? I like it. I like the flow because there's a more narrow back. Is it my most favorite one? Absolutely not. But I like physiques with the narrow back. So Callum Moger, Z's look nice, but you know, if you're asking if I would want to look like him, no, you know, he's be too small for my ideal physique, and he's missing a few body parts that I would like to be big. But yeah. But I like the overall flow just for the fact that he has a narrow back. Like, I absolutely love a narrow back physique. How much fat to muscle ratio with your planned 60-pound gain? How much fat will you put on, basically, is the question. So whenever I do this, I always get leaner, or say the same body fat. I'm probably going to say the same body fat, but because I'm trying to go all out here. But So if I was to stay the same body fat, but I explode in 60 pounds of weight, that means I'm obviously putting on fat, right? Because if I gain 50 pounds of muscle, my body fat would actually go down, right? Because I'm now 250 pounds versus 200 pounds, and that's just all muscle. My body fat would drop dramatically. So I'm probably going to stay the same body fat. That's the best way to answer it. I'm going to probably stay, so I might lean up a little bit, but body fat is going to go up with the muscle. So that'd be the best way to answer it. Have you found any other hair loss interventions outside of what's included in your article? It's been a few years since you published it now. Yeah, like there's a million, I always say there's a million different things proven to recover hair, prevent hair loss, and you know, there's a million different items. It's just finding out what ones work the best and have the best science and the best real world backing. I'll have to go over the article and see if I found anything that I think is worth it. Do you think you can eat 10,000 calories a day like Brian Shaw? Do I think I could? I absolutely could. Could I mentally keep it up long term? Absolutely not. I mean, let's say somebody offered me $1 billion to do it for I don't know how long. I'm sure I'd find a way, but like, you know, other than that, like I'd give up in like a day. Like I don't want to. Brad Pitt and Troy had pretty good physique with a narrow back. See, I don't necessarily like that. I'm not saying he looks bad. Sure, he looks, you know, great for whatever. Narrow back, yeah. But I like a very specific physique, which is a mixer, I like to say, because, you know, all different sizes here. Kevin Lebroni, Jacob De Bruyne, Callum Von Moger. So I like a mixture of those physiques. So like Brad Pitt from Troy example, his traps weren't that high. He had very weak traps. So if he had a bigger traps, his triceps were weak. But the narrow back look he had, yeah. So I like very tall traps with delts not bigger than the arms either. So very tall traps, very big rear delts, and then very big triceps. So the triceps hangs over like Kevin Lebroni has. And then back-wise, I like the back to be very narrow, but the lower traps to be very big. So, you know, when you're looking at somebody's side view and you see the tall traps, the middle traps are just normal, and then the lower traps, you know, this big portion of your back is extended very far out. That's the look I like the best. How often do or should you cycle off insulin? I mean, you can technically stay on it as long as you want, unlike other cycles, because it's not going to cause insulin resistance. So you can stay on as long as you want. Have you got the new food list up on the site? Yeah, I do actually. It's in the forums. 4K. It's more of like I did a meal plan for those who don't have digestive issues is what the new plan that I did. So it's like for people that can eat anything. 4K calories, is that going to be your baseline calorie level? Levroni was unbelievable. That tricep dunk combo. Yeah, it's one of my favorite looks. The big rear delt matched with the big tricep. When the rest of the delt is just like normal size, right? So, and then he had a nice lower chest and his upper chest wasn't too big. So you had that nice, you know, it popped at the back here from the front, and then it popped at the tricep here, and then the biceps were just a little more normal. And then, you know, he had the tall traps. His back wasn't too big, a little bit too big for me. You know, that wide back really gives you the pro bodybuilder look. But yeah, 4K is going to be my baseline. Don't know yet. I'm gonna have to add up a few days to see what I'm actually going to eat versus what I want to eat. If there's a perfect route, I'd be continually eating like 6K calories, but I don't know if I'll hit it. So I'm thinking 4 to 6K. What do you think about running orals that don't convert to estrogen plus Clomid? You mean, so you have a base of estrogen from the Clomid? You know, you cut, you know, that when somebody asks me in a cycle, it's individual, right? I would never run any oral besides Devo because it would cause me hair loss. So, you know, it's an individual question. Yeah, I know all the TRT groups. I hate those people. I got booted out of the TRT groups. They're very one-sided. they post studies like, oh, don't use AI, like your estrogen run through the roof and stuff like that. And then they're basing it off of studies on using TRT, where men used AI and it crushed their estrogen. Meanwhile, they're not looking at studies where unnatural men use an AI, and whether it's 2 milligrams or 20 milligrams a week, the estrogen was the same, because AI can't kill your natural estrogen, because it can't touch intertesticular levels of estrogen. Basically everything they say in that group is like cherry picked, and they ignore opposing data, and the data they pick is taken out of context, like men on TRT on AI. And then they look at the bad side effects. Oh, AI causes this, and the side effects. No, it's because they use too much AI for being on TRT, and the low E causes side effects, not necessarily the AI. You can and should use an AI if you need one, if your estrogen's actually high, just don't crush it. And too high testosterone levels are bad too. High testosterone, the heart, and for neuron death and stuff like that. People act like just because it's high, doesn't it just low T causes side effects? No, high testosterone causes side effects too. Well then, say hair loss is not a concern in an oral plus Clomid cycle, would you produce enough estrogen to stay at least somewhat a healthy range? If you've seen my Prevent Shutdown video and article, you know that I showed that your LH and all your hormones stay fully up to normal when you're on a cycle, as long as you use Clomid. And they even did it with Halostine, right, which is a non-aromatizable oral. So yeah. A lot of people say on gear, the traps and shoulders grow fastest. Do you think it's kind of true, or mostly genetics, or where you grow the fastest? So it's true that gear does, there is more androgen receptor in your traps and your shoulders. So, that is true for sure. So true, the only AI study they cite used 2.5 million letrozole per day. Yeah, well, here's the funny thing. Yeah, they cite studies and they cite them on, they take it out of context, because like I show people who've asked me this, I literally, I got booted out of there. I was posting studies on, like I just said, they're using upwards 20 milligrams a week of Arimidex, and there's studies on 20 milligrams a day of Arimidex, and it still couldn't crush estrogen. However, if you were to use it on a steroid user, you would crush estrogen. So the issue is using too much AI on a hormone user, but you cannot use too much AI on a natural person, basically. Sorry guys. Androgen sensitivity specific to certain compounds or androgens in general. Like, can you reset sensitivity to testosterone, the anabolic benefits, by ceasing use but replacing with another anabolic? So I'm just going to see how you worded that. So I think what you're asking is if you switch to DECA, because DECA is a different androgen, that's going to happen. There's no studies on that, and the real world results would say otherwise. And it really wouldn't make sense how that goes, because it only work in one instance, possibly, but not proven. If you use a stronger androgen, you would be activating that androgen receptor more stronger, like 500 milligrams test versus 500 milligrams trenbolone. But that's not proven. However, you still activating the DNA genes transcripts from a ligand, an androgen is still going to be, so not proven, unlikely that would happen unless you use a stronger androgen, then it might happen, but it's still unproven. You've mentioned in the past that prolactin contributes to hair loss, but you recommended bioestrogen cream in your hair loss article. Doesn't estrogen increase prolactin? Yes and no. It's not straightforward, and you referring it to example topical is completely different than let's say getting converted. And so it's just, that's why we have studies on people with high prolactin, but their estrogen is normal. Can estrogen increase it? Yes. Is it going to do it from the scalp? No. What was it saying? Yeah, so no, not in that context, but can it do it? Yeah, it can. But that it's in a completely different context, basically. Because as you know, with balding men, they have hypoxia, lack of oxygen in the scalp. Lack of oxygen in the scalp causes 5-AR to increase and aromatase to decrease. This is why estrogen is hair protective. So yeah. You mentioned, oh, no, Thanks, Abba Thesis. I think that was how to say your name. Derek from More Plays More Date says when he took Dutastride, he still lost hair if he blasted steroids. He said because test levels cause hair loss also, not only DHT. Hold on. Androgens can, yes. Same reason, you take any androgen, right? Sorry guys, I'm getting tired here. My brain's gone. You take a DHT drug. A DHT drug isn't DHT. It is, it's another form of the drug. Any androgen different androgens bind to different, like a muscle cell receptor cell. A muscle cell, in your muscles, your receptor sites there are different than the ones in your scalp and your prostate. No matter what, both of them can intertwine and attach to both. So testosterone can, work on your prostate, work on your muscles. However, they work at different strengths. So eventually you get to a point where you run so much testosterone, it will still, let's say testosterone only binds 10% to your prostate and scalp. You run 10 times the dose, it's eventually, it's going to get up there and still cause the same effects as DHT. Doesn't L-carnitine upregulate androgen receptors? Correct. So does it upregulate them in scalp or prostate? We don't know. The only thing we can do is go by experience, because I'm sure maybe you're talking about my article, my androgen receptor upregulation article, where I suggest it. I always suggest L-carnitine. It boosts your androgen receptors. That's what we use it for. Do we see hair loss on it, if that's what you're referring to? Absolutely no. I've never seen it cause hair loss, yet I see things like creatine cause hair loss. Are there any safe compounds that actually work to tighten the skin? I'm not sure what you mean by that. Are you acting steroid-wise, or do you have any clients that use DNP before? If so, what are your thoughts on it? Yes, I have. I don't like DNP. I don't suggest it myself. It's people that want to run it on their own. I'm just scared of it. I don't like to mess with certain things with certain sides. Like there's studies on DNP with really low dose, I think 50 or 100 milligrams a day for only like a couple weeks, 1 or 2 weeks, and even cataracts appeared in them. Like the cataracts are through the roof. Then there is, people say, oh, there's no studies on males. I'm sorry, but I found studies that it did happen in males. Whether you can prevent it with antioxidants and stuff like people say, that is up for debate. That's not proven. So to me, risking cataracts is, no, I don't consider that something I would risk. Just because there's so many horror stories online, somebody like, oh, I ran 200 milligrams DNP for 4 weeks or 2 weeks and stuff like that, all over the line. I go to the doctor, they say I have cataracts that equal of an 80-year-old. So I don't like the use of it myself. Deca at 400 milligrams seems to lower my estrogen. Do you seem to see this in yourself? Maybe it's diet where I eat a lot of broccoli. Absolutely, your broccoli could be doing it. I eat a lot more higher fats. My estrogen's fine. Any kind of supplements or chemicals that tighten your skin? Do you mean like actually having saggy skin from losing fat? I've used DNP extensively before. Horrible stuff. Anyone using it has the wrong motives, in my own opinion. Somebody said. Imagine someone running DNP all year long to say, yeah, mildly sagging skin after childhood obesity. Do you use cardio, or is your workout only looking for cardio? I'm not going to do any cardio just because I'm a lazy piece of shit. Should I do cardio? Yeah. Should I do it for fat loss? No, because I know I won't gain that much fat. Should I do it for health? Yeah, but I probably won't. Yes, the plan was 6 weeks on, 5 weeks off, 400 milligrams a week. I'm 38 now. Used from 16 to 34 without many breaks until family commitments came along. Tried TRT dose tests. but still aggression through the roof. Just want to take over now. Try naturally, train not for me. Yeah, Deca will absolutely fix your aggression issue. I don't like tests because it makes me overly emotional. You know, one minute I can be angry, the next I can be over emotional, you know, sad about something. I absolutely hate it. I hate it, Tess. Alright guys, Tess is garbage, just saying. Yeah. I know Tren doesn't make you leaner, but do you think it could help you stay leaner than you are compared to if you don't use Tren? Well, yeah, different androgens. Usually the stronger androgens will help burn fat more, so Tren absolutely can help more. Yeah, but you know, like everything, it has its sides. Most people don't want to run Tren or DHT-like compounds because of hair loss, right? What supplements would you say to run on an oral cycle outside of liver support, vitamin K2, something else? Heart-wise, you know, you want to have adequate magnesium in the diet. K2, you need to supplement. Eat fish and or cod liver oil. Then the oral, the liver subs, like we said. Other than that, no. Then you have that except for you have the androgen receptor increasing items, right? Like carnitine, that's in my article. If you read the little short versus long cycle. Why does test give bad sides like gyno and acne and Diabo not? So this big misconception is that Diabo creates a lot of estrogen. It doesn't create a lot of estrogen. It creates a stronger estrogen, but very little of it. This is why guys in the 70s didn't really get gyno, they didn't have acne, and this is why all my guys who run Diabo and who ran tests, like tier 2 dose test gives me gyno and horrible freaking estrogen sides. I can run hundreds of milligrams of Diabo and no estrogen sides at all. And same with all my guys, you know, acne, no gyno, no estrogen sides at all. And the estrogen is kept in, you know, a better ratio, androgen to estrogen ratio. Meanwhile, test, the more you use test, your estrogen basically lines up equally. Use 3 times the dose of test, 3 times the dose of estrogen, and 5 times the dose of test, 5 times the dose of estrogen, basically. That's how it works. Do you think if someone takes Tren, it gives them the ability to stay a bit leaner if diet stays the same as before? Absolutely. Steroids on their own will help cause fat loss, so increase your metabolism to stay leaner. Would you say the reason Diabo doesn't affect the estrogen is that, like, well, it does raise your estrogen. It's just that, you know, so like I even said, if you were to use 300 milligrams of Diabo, like, you know, I have and others have, you would still notice the estrogen benefit. It's the ratio, right? Your androgenic to estrogenic ratio. It's much better than testosterone because it creates very little of the estrogen. If you've not cycled, been completely natural for 4+ years, do you think you'd respond like a first time user again due to a set receptor? Absolutely, yes and no, because, you know, usually you would shrink, right? But that's why I do guys how they have the breaks in between cycles. You know, the longer the break and the good breaks, you respond like new again. It's the same thing for me. Like, look at me, my last cycle, after I shrunk down and I had like over a year off, I gained 50 pounds in 6 weeks. I gained 50 pounds in 6 weeks, 25 muscle memory, and 25 pounds new weight. And my arms were 1.5 inches bigger than they've ever been. So I regained, you know, inches on my arms, plus 1.5 new. Just a fun question. Would you say the public perception of the harm of steroids is skewed? How harmful do you think are short cycles when compared to other activities? Absolutely. I always state stuff like this, like, you know, steroids have been studied for so long. Look at the number one issue is heart disease, the number one death, you eating your not even smoking, sorry, you eating bad and lack of exercise is, you know, that's going to kill you so way faster than anything you could do with steroids, basically. I mean, like, look at the average heart disease person dying at, like, you know, not the average, sorry, but the people dying at 50 years old. Like, it's Absolutely, living a bad lifestyle is a million times worse than goddamn steroids. No doubt about it. Are you a proponent of creatine use? Creatine's good, has benefits, absolutely, but those with hair loss, it causes worse hair loss than testosterone. As you know, in studies now, it's proven to raise DHT. So I don't like it, I don't use it, but if you don't have hair loss, absolutely go for it. How much fat and water do you think was gained when you gained 50 plus pounds? So when I answered, you can go back and see my pictures. I was leaner, but only a little bit leaner. So obviously I gained some fat, right? Because if I gained 50 pounds and my body fat was just around the same mark, that means I obviously gained some fat. But I was still leaner. So, you know, that was good. How much water? Well, you know, muscle is what? 75%, 90, I don't know, whatever percent water, right? So how much water did I gain? Well, I did not gain extra water. That was like, you know, when you take a steroid like testosterone, you gain water and you drop the drug and you lose 10 pounds. I did not gain that water. I gained the natural amount of water that your body holds. You know, let's say your body's 82% water at all times. I gained, you know, the water that your muscle needs. I did not gain extra water weight that when I gained 50 pounds, I stopped training fully. Stopped training, I was eating a lot less, and I stopped the drugs fully, and I did that for 6 months, and it took 6 months for my weight to start to dip. So it was not water weight, it was not, you know what I mean? What I gained was what, you know, my muscle. And what is muscle made up of? You know, protein, fat, water, phosphorus, potassium. So, you know, I gained tissue. What time did I start streaming? 8:22. Have you ever used Winstrol, or what would be a better equivalent to use on your pet rat? Yeah, I've used Winstrol. Horrible hair loss. Never use it again. I like T-ball the best for the hard look. If that's what you're asking for, a cutting or steroid, I like T-ball the best. Do you still talk to Alex, the 6'4", 5" kid from Australia that weighs like 300 pounds? Yeah, absolutely. He was just posting in the group today, actually. Sorry guys, be back 1 second. Let me go to the washroom. When you gain a lot of muscle, do you notice your face gets puffier if you didn't gain fat? My face gets puffier when I'm like, no matter, so even things like DECA, my face will get puffy, but it's not like, you know, I can come off. Here's the thing, DECA will cause water retention, but it's like a couple pounds, like 2 pounds. So like I came off and I lost like 2 pounds, and I noticed that does come to my face. So no matter what, I notice it'll come into the face, but that's because I'm also not super lean as well. Sorry guys, 1 second. Alright, hey guys. When you gain a lot of, I already answered that one. I'm so tired, guys. But it's kind of like an addicting thing. Like I'm here, I'm on, I'm answering questions, and it's like, I don't know, it's kind of fun and addicting at the same time. You've probably answered this a million times, but forgive me. Could someone psycho Debo only for 4 to 6 weeks without use of AI? I know it's personal. Absolutely. So, like you just said, the estrogen that Debo makes is very little. And this is why guys in the 70s, none of them had gyno. Guys in the 70s, go check out my oral only cycle. Guys in the 70s, I post articles from doctors and stuff. They used Debo upwards 7,000 milligrams a day. I've used it at 1,200 milligrams a day for like 2 weeks. I've used it for like 6 months at 200 milligrams a day, and no estrogenic sides, no AI. However, I take TRT tests, I get gyno. Same with everybody in the group. The gyno guys, I get it off TRT doses test, but they take mega doses of Debo, no estrogen issues. So absolutely, you will be fine. Like 1% chance you'll get an estrogen issue. There's also a video on it. If you check my channel for videos, you'll see oral only cycle. How many years has it taken to build your knowledge base? How many hours per day on average have you spent researching? Well, since I was 17, probably I've been reading. Probably like 15 years I've been reading now. I've been reading since I was about 17. And depends, man, because, you know, like some days I'd wake up and I'd literally lay in bed and, you know, I'd find a good study, and then I would and like create this idea like, oh my God, you know, this nutrient did this. And I'm like, why don't I search this up? So I'd search up another factor for this disease, illness, or process, and this nutrient. And I would lay in bed and I wouldn't even eat. And I would just lay in bed, just researching for like 16 hours and finally get up and eat at nighttime. Like, and I've done this for years. Like I'd have periods where I go through that. Like, yeah, I have like 15 years of freaking 16 to 20 hours of freaking research. And like so many times I'd stay up like 24 hours plus, you know what I mean? Like I just get addicted to it and I keep going. From a health perspective, in regular individuals, not AAs users, is having liver enzymes mid-range perfectly normal, or would you expect them to be close to optimal health? Well, it depends on if you're training, right? You know, if you're working out, breaking down muscle tissues, your liver enzymes might be a little bit higher. So it depends on if you're training really hard, right? Is 150 grams of carbs in one meal too much? Individual. If you're doing intense workout and you're burning through a lot of energy, no, absolutely not too much. Sorry, guys. BPC 157 TB for herniated disc and sciatica. Well, so many people have issues, right, with because the BPC and TB 500, I love it. I had issues in my shoulder and my knee that completely went away when I used it for 4 weeks. I had to use double the dose of BPC. Somebody suggested it to me, and I did that, and bam, my issues went away. So I absolutely love it for certain issues. However, is it going to heal sciatica? You know, it depends on what's causing your sciatica. Unlikely, right? Like you know, muscles, water retention stuff, pinching it. You know what I mean? Like, do you absolutely actually do have sciatica, or are you just assuming you have it? And then, you know, what is the cause? If it's something like I just said, then no, that's not going to fix that. Anything else you can do to get AR upgraded outside of carnitine and T3? Yeah, I listed a few things in my article. Clenbuterol does it. Tribulus actually does it. Remember, everybody's all over Tribulus, like, oh, Tribulus, I feel the benefits of Tribulus, but people posting in and saying, oh, studies show it doesn't affect testosterone. No, it doesn't, but it increases your androgen receptor. So Tribulus is another thing. Just like anything, hair loss and this and that and this and that, there's a million different things that will do everything you want, but what is the most beneficial and what is proven to do it in humans, those are the items I stick to, and without side effects. Are you familiar with the Trained by JP training style? How low volume, very high intensity? Do you think this type of workout require all amount thing? Absolutely. If you go to ti.com, my testimonials, you see I actually helped JP. He wrote me a testimonial, so I worked with him. Go check my testimonial. Go read my training article. My training article, I break down all, it's on my website. I break down all this about the most of, so that's a very tricky question. So let me read that again. Do I think it requires it? So that's so individual. You have to base, I always say this, people with carbs, like base it off, your individual needs. Some people may burn fat more, some people may burn carbs more, it fully depends. It truly fully depends. There's bodybuilders out there that need 1,000 grams carbs a day to keep up with their glycogen, just like endurance runners are burning through, they can also use 1,000 grams carbs because of the volume. Completely individual. You need to listen to your body on how much carbs you do need. You may need 200 grams of carbs, you may need 150, you may need 50. Do you think that keto can be used to build significant mass? Absolutely not the most optimal and significant. Almost every single person who's done keto and tried to try to build the as soon as they switch to high carb, they're like, wow, I'm building so much more muscle. Can you do it? You can. Is it going to be a lot slower? Absolutely. Anybody with any real world experience will tell you that. Keto is proven to shut down your thyroid hormone, cut it in half. High fat diets are proven to cause insulin resistance. So many negative benefits to keto. You're not going to be building muscle optimally. Every single goddamn study done on fat loss has shown that every single study on fat loss has shown that more actual fat loss was seen with higher carb diets versus low fat, which is that initially when you start the diet, you lose a lot more glycogen and water weight loss. So the initial weight is water loss, but in the long term, you actually lose more fat with higher carbs. All right, guys, I'm going to end the stream now just because I'm really freaking tired. And you need to eat something. Thanks for watching, guys. Again, I'm going to take the day off probably tomorrow, so I might still live stream. I'm just not going to do my workout. Thanks for watching, guys. Remember to subscribe. You should avoid saturated fat. What about eggs? Don't avoid anything. Don't avoid a whole food group or a whole macronutrient. Get everything. You need a balanced diet. My point on that is, especially bodybuilder diet, there's not enough polyunsaturated fats. And my point is to avoid eating excessive saturated fats or monosaturated fats and focus on the polyunsaturated fats. Eggs are great because you need cholesterol. Studies show regardless of protein, carbs, and fats and calories, the more cholesterol you ate, the more muscle mass you built. So you want a lot of cholesterol in your diet. Eggs are great for that. You just don't overshoot the saturated fats from other sources and focus on polyunsaturated fats. Awesome. Yeah, thanks, guys. Thanks for the compliments. Yeah. All right, guys. I might try to do one later tonight, 7 o'clock, because I want to hit the later peeps. The people that watch later. I want to really try and live daily. Yeah. Thanks for watching, guys. Definitely come in next time. Ask some questions. Right. I like it. All right, guys. Thanks a lot. I'll check you guys later. Take care.